Hello. It says we are live, and perhaps we are. Are we? Are we alive? Sorry, I am late. Yes, I have been fighting with the tech again. I've been fighting with the hardware and the software. Not really fighting with it, but trying to talk it into cooperating with me. So sorry for being late. Hi everyone. Yes, we are live. I'm so sorry for being late. I can see you're already saying all your hellos and everything. Olin, hi. Okay, so far we have and Pam I am. Oh, baby, it's Cowboy. Yeah, what about Cowboy? Oh, dear Cowboy. Um, and Anne, and oh, yeah, the picture of Cowboy. Thank you. Okay, James Ortiz. Well, thanks for stopping by, James. Okay. Um, and anybody who I lost in the meantime, sorry about that. Oh my goodness. It's not easy sometimes getting the stream to cooperate. Or getting I'm still not great with pushing the buttons right and getting it actually tried to tell me I didn't have a stream again, that I hadn't made one, and I know I sent out the notifications. So I don't know what's going on. But anyway, finally it did show up, and so here I am. Sorry about that. Is anybody still here? Please type something if so. Okay, anyway, I might as well start. Okay, good at pushing buttons. You're good at pushing buttons? Good. Hi, Amber's Para World. Yeah, I don't know, man. Some days I have trouble. Tonight we're going to have something really unusual. And the reason I'm wearing a farmer's hat. I'm doing atmospheric tonight. I'm wearing a farmer's hat because we're going to talk about being down on the farm. Yep, we're going to talk about the paper prison. It's something I have trouble with. Um, Legalese and all that stuff. We're going to talk about it. Uh, and we have somebody who's really looked into all of this. So, what does it mean to be a person? You know why they can't define what a woman is? You're going to find out why we have people having trouble defining what anything is and being fluid and whatever, why this is being introduced, among other things, you know, why uh, the legal people speak one language and we speak another, um, that kind of thing. Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about that tonight. Um, this is Ocean's Deep Woo, and I'm the Ocean. We do here the deepest of woo, and woo is pretty much all we do. Although we do sometimes have food chat down in the. So if you get bored with the subject, there's always food chat. But okay, so we do all kinds of paranormal, all kinds of weird woo, and all kinds of metaphysical, you know, everything from Sasquatch to and other cryptids, UFOs, spirits, hauntings, time slips, what have you, anything, just plain spooky stories, and Mandela effects, what have you. We'll discuss it here. Most of us are experiencers. We've experienced some of these things, at least one of these things. And so I'd ask you to please be kind to all of the experiencers, particularly our guests, because it does take a certain amount of guts to step forward and tell your story. Because really, if you think you're going to get rich quick or something from telling your story, this is not what's going to happen. However, it's, most 9 times out of 10, you're going to have bad effects, more bad effects than good effects from trying to tell your story. But we're hoping to change that. This show is different. We're here so experiencers can get the word out about what they've experienced and maybe help you understand what's going on with you. And I know that's helped me a lot through the years. So we are the disclosure, disclosing to each other. And I would submit that we really don't need the government to disclose to us. We have enough sense to know for ourselves what's going on. It would be nice to hear from them. Oh yeah, be nice to hear some of what they know, but doggone it. In lieu of that, we'll just keep each other informed. So tonight, oh yes, I must say, this is just tips, tricks, and hacks. We're playing that massively multiplayer, um, total immersion, holofractal learning game called Life on Planet Earth, and has nothing to do with real life, which takes place outside the Matrix. Okay, with that, let's get to the show. Here's our guest, me woman. Oh, I'm trying to get her in here.
I don't want anything,
There you go. Okay, I got you.
Okay, can everyone hear me?
Okay, I think you're on now.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, the tech has been weird as anything today, so just recently. So
yeah, there's a lot of weird energy tonight. So I wanted to talk about our birth certificates and like what they lock us into. So basically, everyone has a birth certificate if you're born in the United States. What that does is it essentially sells you to the government as a corporation. And but there's a way to step out. So like everyone is trying to get these benefits from the government, but they're actually privileges. The Washington, D.C. is the only part of the United States. That is like a 10-mile radius. People think the United States is the entire country, but the entire country is actually America. So what we need to do is we need to step back into Americans and reclaim ourselves or the title holder, because everything's just about titles, contracts, and bonds. Everything is a contract in commerce. So the first step that we have to do to become title holders of our lost bond entity. This is not legal advice. I want to tell everyone that right off the bat. This is for entertainment purposes, education and entertainment purposes. I'm not giving anyone legal advice. This is just what I've found works in becoming the owner of your quote unquote name company. And then after you take a lot of these steps, or after we take these steps, we can tap into the resources the government's already using for us. So what I did is that I went and authenticated my birth certificate. And what that does is you're no longer a lost corporation, a dead entity. You've actually stepped up and become the title holder. So all it entails, you go to the Secretary of State, whatever state you're in, with a certified copy of your birth certificate. And it has to be a certified copy or the original. You can't just have a photocopy because it will not work. Anyway, if you have a certificate of live birth, you are holding a piece of gold in your hands. And if you know anybody that has that, if you need to ask your parents, everybody you know, if they have a certificate of live birth or a Bible or priest documented record of your birth, because that takes you outside of these corporate laws, and we're all considered federal employees, all of us. I don't care if you work for the quote unquote work for the federal government or not. We are federal employees, and we're bound by their rules, and that includes the penal code, the civil code, the public transportation code. That's why we have to have a driver's license. And many of us are not driving for commerce, we're traveling, but that can be discussed on another day. Anyway, so
actually, we could discuss it a little bit later today. How about?
Yeah, maybe. How long are you going to go for tonight? Because I got about 10 minutes right now.
Oh, hell, I got plenty of time.
Okay, so I'm going to show you guys, and I actually have 2 different copies of my birth certificate, of the certified copies. One I got, and I'm going to date myself right now, I got in the 90s. And one I got in 2021. They're so different. And I don't know if somebody could type in like the chat or something, if they know what a cattle, a certificate of birth or registration for a cattle or a sheep or any livestock. I have one that actually has 3 stars, which I was told that's what livestock have on their birth certificates or whatever for livestock. So I have one from 2021 that has these 3 stars that when you blow on it, and I'll show you guys, these stars disappear. But the one I have from the 90s, it does not have these stars. And they've actually changed everything. Instead of just saying, I'm going to just say it, I'm in Texas. They went from being the city of and the Department of Public Health to, they switched it. So now these bond papers, and these are on bond papers. So these are bank accounts. These are backed traded things on the stock market. Now they've gone to the state of Texas with 3 stars that disappear. So I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about, and I've deleted a lot of it.
Well, dear, if we can't see you,
I know. I'm gonna give my screen access just so you can see these. And bear with me because I don't know how to flip this camera, so I'm gonna try to play around with this a little bit because I'm trying to be anonymous and not let anybody. All right.
I understand.
Is there a way to flip the screen?
Yes, we just did it.
There is? Okay. So can you guys see that?
We can see it.
Oh, crap. Okay. So this, it says, this is the authenticated. This is what they'll give you. It'll be stamped, and it just says, by virtue of the laws, the custodian of records has certified that this is an authentic document and a real document. So they type in this document number and they put it in the system. So now it's authenticated as a true and real document. So when you walk around with this document now, you're a living person. You're the title holder. It's like having the title to a car or a house. And I'm going to show you guys. I hope y'all can see this. I have no idea what you're seeing right now. All right.
We're seeing the document, but your audio is a little scratchy, hon.
Okay. Can you see these stars at the bottom?
Not very well.
How about that?
Yeah. Okay. See it. Gold star.
I'm gonna put my finger over it to make it hot, and then it'll kind of disappear. You see how they disappeared?
Mm-hmm.
Check that out, and they'll get darker. Do y'all see that?
Seriously?
I'll do one. And this is what happens when you blow on it, like with your breath. Do you see how that kind of disappeared? Now it's coming back. Let me do it again.
You mean if you blow on them, these stars disappear?
Okay, check it out. Y'all see this? Watch that.
And the heat will also make them disappear.
And I'll show you the older.
Yeah.
One. So that's a document from 2021. Here's a document that's older with no stars. Can y'all see the 2?
Yeah.
And look, they changed the seals, and that tells me they changed jurisdiction. So everything is about jurisdiction. Like, you can't be convicted of a crime if the court doesn't have jurisdiction. So this one says City of Houston, and this one says Department of Public Health. This one says nothing about that. So they've done something and switched our jurisdiction, which I'm not sure about yet. But if you look here on the bottom, it says, you're not going to be able to see this. They're tiny words. But here at the bottom of everyone's birth certificate, it says American Bank Note Company. And that proves that this is an American banknote. So it's in the bottom left-hand corner of your birth certificates. So once you get these red numbers, you got a bond. This is a bond that's been collecting funds and money since the day they registered. And I'm going to show you the day that you were born is different than the day that they entered the system. So this, in between the day you were born and the date on your birth certificate, they declare you lost. After you're lost, they get a bond out for you, kind of like you were in custody. And then it'll only have your mother's signature, and it says that she is the, what do they call her? Informant. They call him the informant below your mother's name. They won't have the father sign, which, because they're saying that you're a bastard and your mom can't take care of you. I'm going to turn off my my camera in a second. So this one, this is the old one, the 90s, and mine is very different. Most people have all uppercase on their birth certificates. Oh shit, that has my name on it. Anyway, so eventually what you're gonna have to do, get the copy, and then you'll have to do what's called an affidavit of ownership. And you'll basically say you're the age of lawful majority. And the reason that this is because people think once you turn 18 that you're an adult and you just become an adult and you have all these adult privileges. Well, there's no magic button in the government system that like switches a light and says that you're an adult now. You have to file paperwork. Everything is about paperwork. If you'll notice, I put in on the land mass of Texas because we want to be land people, not persons. Oh shit, that has my name on it. Hang on a second, guys. Crapola. Hang on one second.
Yeah, I have one that I have a coffee cup. YJ is saying he's got the heat sensitive. He's got a coffee cup with the heat sensitive ink on it. I do too. I have one where you fill the coffee cup and the TARDIS goes away.
Okay, so what is that? What are the stars? Does anybody know what the stars mean?
No.
Wow. I just realized my whole name was on one of those papers. Oh, well, the jig is up. Anyway, so the point of all this is that we want to become the authorized beneficiary of these accounts. And these are what they're pulling off of. Anytime you go into a traffic ticket, what they're doing is they're using this account because no one's been named as the beneficiary. So they step in as the beneficiary and access those accounts. You can look up court cases on the Dun and Bradstreet, and you can see that they've publicly traded those cases and they're profiting off of them. Every single case. Sometimes people's socials will be in Dun and Bradstreet, which is that's like the stock market. You can look up stocks, bonds, and publicly traded companies. And here's the funny thing. Where I live, I looked up my courthouse, and it's being traded, and it's listed as a trading entity. And instead of like a government agency, there's an individual owner that owns the courthouse. So that tells me they have no jurisdiction over humans to even charge people with crimes. So it's just, the whole thing's a fraud. Like, we've been living a lie. It's all smoke and mirrors.
Haven't we always, it's like just
spells.
one more lie.
Yeah, I hope that was, like, I get really nervous. So, like, does anyone have any questions about anything? I don't even know.
No, dear, just slow down. We're going to be, I can be here for, you've been here before. We can go for hours. So
I know I can't go for hours tonight, and I'm super nervous because I'm like showing a lot of really private stuff, and I'm not a super public person. But I know I definitely want to help others to not be stuck in this system, because this is our money that they're using. All these, like, here's one of the things that matters. Like, we think we have to wait until we're 65 years old to tap into these retirement accounts. Well, a social security number was originally meant to track the retirement accounts and they've kind of bastardized it. So they're using it now, and they're making us wait until we're 65. We can access those accounts now, and we don't have to nickel and dime the accounts like they're going to do to us when we're 65, because once we claim the title and then do our affidavits and then file them, you could take it further than the step that I showed you guys and do the Secretary of State for, I think is it Maryland? Oh gosh, my nerves have the best of me. The actual Secretary of State for like the federal government, you could fully authenticate it there. And when you do all the way there, you get full faith and credit. And they'll send you the same certificate that I had on top of mine, but theirs will say full faith and credit, which means you have full faith and full credit everywhere. And you can present that document, walk into any bank and be like, give me an account and access the private side, get all these funds if it's done properly. If it's done improperly, you could go to federal prison and be buried there. So let's just go into questions and see if anyone.
Okay. Apparently YJ thinks I'm a geek because I have a Doctor Who cup. But anyway, anyway, no. YJ says the stars are a counterfeit measure. And
it's a counterfeit measure. Okay.
Okay. And he says legal is one aspect, but when there's an army of armed authorities who only respect their chain of command, paperwork doesn't mean anything to them.
See, that's the problem. Once you step out of this realm, and if you have filed the documents in the right places and you've done all the steps, they're like five steps to fully get out. You are undetainable. You get put on the do not detain list. You're not under their penal codes and statutory or commercial codes. And that's the thing. Once we step out of being a federal employee, that's why they screw with us, because we're federal employees. And a lot of the police, they don't even have the authority to arrest people. They have to have a permanent peace officer certificate. Permanent. Most of them don't. Most of them have gotten their peace officer status, but they've never fully certified that into a permanent certificate. So everything lies in paperwork. And if you do it right, I guarantee you won't be screwed with. Like they'll literally, if they take your ID and go run you, they'll just let you go. And they did that to me yesterday. So I was driving. Oh, see, and that's the word, driving. You never want to be driving, because driving is a paid hired job, like you drive a truck. So I was traveling in a mode of transport that had no registration, no insurance, and one of the lamps was out, broad daylight. And I'm thinking, why did this guy stop me? Probably because I was on the phone with D, Mama D,
Right.
Which should have been on the phone doing that. That's not very safe. That's, but so I start telling the guy, I'm not driving. And he goes to run all my information, and he was like, okay, I need you to be careful and just get that light fixed. And I was like, holy crap, I'd done it right. I think I actually did all the paperwork right, even though I'm not finished, because I've sent all of my affidavits to the proper agencies. Like you have to do it with the Department of Motor Vehicles, Health and Human Services, Secretary of State. But then you have to do a very specific wording on these affidavits, because it's all about the wording, and you just want to step out.
So what happens to if you already have things like Medicaid, or if you already have SSI coming, or if you already have
So here's the good news and the bad news with that. The good news is that there's going to be a period of lapse where there's going to be a lapse in the two. You have to go through the system to get out of the system. So once you get all of the paperwork enabled, you won't need all of these quote unquote benefits, because you will be able to directly access the account that they're already accessing to give you your own money. Here's the thing. We're the original creditor. It's our credit we've extended to them, and they're extending it back to us. So you think you go to a bank and get a credit card loan, auto loan, house loan, that's your credit that you've extended to them. They're accessing your social security number, and then they're turning around and giving you your own credit. So when you get denied credit anywhere, that's unlawful. That's against the law. That's a UCC violation, Commercial Code, United States Code violation. I think, I could be wrong on this number, I think it's 15 USC 1602. Don't quote me on specifically. It's in the 15s somewhere. All of them are. And literally, if somebody denies you credit, you can file something when it's like $1,200 per violation. So people are doing this all the time too. And you can only do it if you know the exact words and the United States codes. So you can go apply for an account that you know you're going to get denied. Let's say I go to like Target and I want a Target card. I'll freeze my account, get them to deny me. When they send me the denial letter in the mail, I'll turn around and send a violation and demand $1,200. And if they don't pay it, they know they're going to court and they're going to lose, because it is I think it's the consumer protection laws, fair credit reporting.
Mm-hmm.
So once you get all this stuff, you won't need the quote unquote benefits, because you'll directly have access to those same monies. If that makes sense.
So that's why. Have you tried this yet? So you've done this and you are now getting access to all that money?
So what I've had to do for mine, I'm trying to do myself and my family members all at the same time. And like, I just moved also. So I've gotten access to a bank account, and I have to be honest, I'm a little bit nervous to pull it out, but my mentors have done it and they've sent me the paperwork and sent me. So like, I know that it works. And when it actually works for me, I will show you guys and direct you on my steps that I took. And, not legal advice. This is for entertainment purposes.
No. This is very interesting because...
But, they're already accessing these accounts. Yes. They're giving us our own money. So right. SSI benefits, disability, that's Social Security disability benefits. Think about it. Social Security disability. So you need it earlier than what they want to give it to you. It's already our money. It's been sitting there. I showed you guys the birth certificates. The birth certificates have numbers on the bottom. They're the bright red numbers. Look these up on the treasurydirect.gov website. You can type in these accounts, and I think they're under I-bonds. You can see how much money they are. So you'll put it in and you either do $10 increments or $1,000 increments. And they're either I or E bonds. It depends on what year you're born. You can look up to see how much your account has actually accrued. Mine was like 1.5 million or something, and I could be mixing these up with a family member. There's at least 1.5 million that I should have access to.
Wow.
And I went through some really brutal, like, quote unquote family court nonsense. So I'm a little nervous to have, large amounts of money there, because lawyers are just money hungry scumbags. And their first oath of a lawyer is to protect the profession at all costs. So anytime someone tells me that they have an honest lawyer, I laugh. So, under the Constitution, or not the Constitution, under the Commercial Code and the United States Code, what I'm telling you guys, it's all written in these laws. And you have to get, basically, you make yourself the beneficiary of this trust with the bonds that I just showed you guys. And you access those, and you take the all capital name and you make yourself the person in charge of that account. And you could do that by doing a private bank and trust, by filing the UCC statements. And then you also have to get like a different IRS number. It's a 98 series number that is, it's tax exempt. And this is all on the IRS website itself. So you guys can say I'm a crazy maniac or whatever, but I challenge you to not believe anything I'm saying and prove me wrong, and look all this stuff up, because it's in the code. It's in the United States Code.
YJ says It's access to your own credit, not your own money. Money, it doesn't exist until it is borrowed.
Ding,
That's
ding,
the point
ding.
where money is created.
Well, yeah, we don't have money. Oh, I want to mention this before I go. On the back of your bills, the federal note that we call money in America, it says, "In God we trust." So, and I want to say the God, the God, that stands for Government Organizational Departments. And it says the government organizational departments we trust. So we are trusts under the government.
Oh
It
my
tells you
God.
on the back of it. Like they're telling us in plain sight. We have to just know what we're looking at.
Oh my God. So God is really government organizational development
Government organizational departments.
department.
Well, not the God, it's not the God we think of when we see that on our quote unquote money, but that's what that word means. The
Government
government.
organizational. So we trust in government organizational departments.
Ding, ding, ding. So the government loves acronyms. Everything's an acronym. Don't think it's an actual word. It's probably an acronym. Like USDA, that stands for Department of Agriculture. The what is it? The FEC, Federal Exchange Commission. Everything's an acronym. Anyway, I'm gonna have to get going, but there's one thing I wanted to say. Oh, so another thing that you guys were talking about being on like public assistance in any shape or form. Let's say you have a phone bill and you're on a fixed income because you're on Social Security or disability or whatever. When you make a payment of anything over $600 an entire year, and I don't care if it's a cell phone, if it's a rent for your apartments, it's a car note, electricity bill, anything, you get a 1099-A and you can send it back to these people and they'll either have to get a tax break for you or give you a cash refund. And y'all go look it up, 1099-A. It is called a I can't think of it. Y'all go look up 1099-A's and you should be sending these to, this is not legal advice. You should be sending these to people, anyone you've paid more than $600 to in an entire year. And you can go back on this on 3 years. This is in the IRS code, you guys. So get your quote unquote money back. Your fake paper money.
Your fake paper money.
Your fake paper money. So,
Me,
yeah,
woman, are you saying that credit available to your person is already borrowed and held in escrow by the Fed?
Well, everything's in their like treasury accounts. I don't know exactly where it's held because there's a Treasury Direct which holds the bonds, but the U.S. Treasury holds the quote unquote funds, or I don't even know what the word is because we don't have actual money. We just have IOUs. And here's another thing. All debt, 1933, all debt was wiped out. It was all forgiven. So if anyone is a debt collector tries to call you, they're violating
1933?
1933. 1933, all debt was wiped out. We switched over from the gold system and went into this paper Federal Reserve notes. There is no money, people. Everything's barter and trade. We think we're giving out like a payment. It's just an IOU that they have to come later. And that's why they want you to sign everything. When you sign any document, if you are signing the name on that birth certificate, you're claiming that corporation and you're giving them permission to access this account.
What if you're a woman and you changed your name?
That's the thing. You got to learn how to sign. So for me, anytime there's any legal ramifications involved, the way I'm told to sign in the United States Code, and you write these words is what the United States Code tells you to do. It says to write without prejudice, not your quote unquote name. Because when you go into court, they'll say, "Are you blah blah blah," and they'll say a name. How can you be a name? You are a person. You're a human. You're a human with a soul. You're a soul being, but you can't be a name. They want to attach that company, the liability, to a body because then the body can sign the contract so they can access the account. It's all about contracts. That's it.
Here we go with the contracts again.
So y'all look up how you should be signing your names, because if you're signing that name that shows up on your birth certificate, you're locking yourself into slavery.
Okay, or did you say you were coming back, or are you like
I could
gone
probably
now?
come back in maybe like 30, 40 minutes. How long are you going to be on there? You're going to be a minute. And I have 3% and might die. Y'all just ask Mama D or whatever. And I'll try and get back to like questions and stuff. And like, you guys can help me go deeper in this too. I really want to find out, you know, the proper
Okay,
ways to do everything.
we are going to be discussing this in your absence, so
Perfect. Perfect.
get
So
on
first
back
step,
when you can.
yeah. First step though, authenticate that birth certificate at the Secretary of State. All right. On that note, much love, everybody.
You too. Thank you so
Thank you
much
for
for
having me
bringing this up.
on. This is my first time. I'm super nervous. If I talk too fast, I'm sorry. Like,
That's okay. We can keep up. We're all
okay. But
everybody's
it's
smart
probably
enough to keep
exhausting.
up. Okay, dear.
Okay, you guys.
Don't worry. See you
All
soon.
right, y'all. I'll talk to you guys later.
Absolutely.
All right. Bye.
Hey, just in case. Hey, Ben. How you doing? Oh boy, yeah. Money's properly termed as debt notes, says YJ Overlander. It's not your name. It's the title. It's when you use the title. I have an eloquent way of speaking. Well, thank you, Ben. I appreciate that. When you use, and YJ says, when you use the title of Mr. or Mrs. or Master, that's when you admit to the corporation instead of a sovereign person. Now, she has told me some things about sovereign too. They're beginning to change the sovereign rule. Sovereign will not be something you'll be advised to do anymore because they're changing. Now, she'll probably talk about this when she comes back because we were talking about it earlier. They are now incorporating sovereign because people have been using it and changing the meaning of it. And what they do is they change the meaning of words. They also have begun to incorporate person. And this is why we suspect, cannot prove it yet, but it seems to be why the pronouns are changing. We got this pronoun thing going on because it's harder to be uh, legally um, it it's just a slipperier term, basically. It makes the law a little bit more slippery in putting it in another word, you know. So you can say, well, I'm not a this, I'm a that. And if it's okay to declare whatever it is you are, other than what they're looking for, then you're not to blame. Basically, if they say, are you the person in question? And you say, I'm not a person, then you're not liable. This is how crazy it is. That's what she was talking about earlier today. And it's like, we'll probably, like I said, when she gets back, formulate your questions. We're going to keep going with this because honestly, this gets very, very deep. That's why I'm wearing the farmer hat is I have been saying this. We're on a farm, folks. We're on a farm. They're milking and fleecing us. Okay. And that is what's really happening here. And we got to become the farmers, I guess, because we've got to become actually there is a term, she said, the term now that you need to use has gone from being sovereign to, there's one guy that did it by calling himself the living man, um, because they try to say you're either dead cargo or an indigent child. That's what they're implying with these laws. And this is, of course, maritime law. Now, how it got to be maritime law we'll have to go a little bit more into when she gets back. I don't know how. Um, I don't know myself. I have run across this concept. Oh, well, great. We do have somebody who has videos explaining this. Well, thank you, Brenny. Michelle Hauser? Mikhail Hauser. What am I looking at? I have bifocals. Okay. Okay, and YJ says what she essentially presented was legal discourse solutions, but she didn't articulate the problems that require the solutions. When she comes back, it would be helpful if she explained why this recourse is even needed, why this recourse is needed. Okay, well, that's one of the questions we will, yeah, that is one of the questions we will definitely, wow. Yeah, David Icke has said, yeah, David Icke. I first heard about this, oh gosh, it must have been over 10 years ago. I heard maybe way back, maybe even farther back than 10 years. It might have been way back farther than that, even. I don't even remember when I first heard about it, but in my mind, it was just all garble. I mean, I couldn't. Um, there's a couple of things that kind of throw me. When you start spouting numbers, I have some kind of mental block about it. I have not that I can add and subtract, and I learned how to do all that, but when you start throwing around numbers and acronyms, it all turns into word salad and gets tossed around in my head, and I have a lot of trouble focusing on any of it. So you just joined. What is this about? This is about what the description said. This is about we're being farmed. Um, Basically, that's why I got the farmer hat, Ben. We're being farmed. I'm going to take it off for now. And what we mean by that is we are being, we're pretty much being hoodwinked by my hair. Ay. Pretty much being hoodwinked when we do any kind of legal proceedings, because there is a dual language there. There's one language that they speak and one language that we speak. And we think we know what they're talking about because some of their words sound very similar to ours. But it's not the same. It doesn't mean the same thing. So it means what they want it to mean. And they can change the meaning of words. Now, this goes back to words being done. It's a spell. It literally is. Spelling is literally a spell. That's why it's called spelling. Literally. Um, yes, abracadabra means as I speak, so it is. Okay. Uh, that was supposed to be a magic word. What you speak, this is why I keep saying you're creators. Be careful what you say. You're divine creators. Be careful what you say about yourself and others. You are creating with your words, and they take it very seriously. These people that are manipulating this take this all very seriously. The whole idea of what words mean, and I think this probably has something to do also with the Babel story, you know, uh, the Tower of Babel and all that. I think this has to do with that. One of the reasons they would have confused the languages so we couldn't all talk together, is because then we wouldn't have a clue what was going on. So it's so deep. I mean, it's so deep and twisted that I'm just scratching. I heard about it years ago. I'm just still scratching the surface of it. And we got to talking about it, and I said, "Gosh, we really need to bring this up as something to discuss because we're at a point now when things are really wacky doodle." Okay, and there are some very weird things happening that I never saw happen before. And I think we may have an idea now why some of this is happening. There may be reasons why these things that seem so crazy to us are actually happening. And let's see. Yeah. Maritime laws, and Brandy Robinson says maritime laws for vessels. Birth certificate registers you to the state you reported into. See, I knew you guys would know about this because I know a little. But like I said, to me, it all gets lost in my head. Um, yeah, me too. YJ, I remember direction by landmarks instead of street names. If you take me down the street, I can show you where everything is. But if you try and give me street names, it's like, well, maybe I can do that if I've been there, often enough. Yeah. And yeah, and YJ says it really does seem that when folks learn about real meanings and stand their ground, it makes oppressors powerless, as if there's an unwritten law that makes aware ones untouchable. Well, because you're a real person then, or a real being. Can't say person anymore. Person is on its way out as a term for living beings like us, living intelligent beings, living human beings. Um, yes, like Rumpelstiltskin, because if you, yeah, and that was probably a lesson in anciently, was probably a lesson originally in this kind of thing. And here we've relegated it to a fairy tale, but probably they're telling us something we need to know about life and reality as it is being run in this um, weird matrix here. Um, so yeah, so Rumpelstiltskin can't go back on his word. This is the thing. They now who are the ones? The controllers, the ones who have been controlling things up to now. They're the ones who go and do everything. I have said this before. Everything's a contract to them. They do everything by contract. And contracts are very, very important. I honestly believe that probably the concept of a contract did not originate on this planet. I think it was a shipped in thing, maybe literally shipped. Now, we call those things in the air ships. We call the things on water ships. It's very interesting that we do, isn't it? That we're, you know, we have different names for land vehicles. We have different names for aircraft. We don't call airplanes aircraft, or I mean airships. We don't call jets airships, and they fly people around, they transport people and things. We call them aircraft. But once again, now you're getting into craft. Craft, interesting word, huh? And to some people, when they're talking about the craft, if they said that is code and it means witchcraft, literally, when they talk about the craft. So craftsmen used to be doing magic. See, um, apparently, this was considered some kind of, um, I guess, abilities and so on. Now I don't understand. I can't say this with, unqualified, but it looks like a lot of things we think of as being mundane is not mundane at all. It had like you're thinking crafters crafting. It may not mean the same thing at all. Um, oh, Pam says I can't process any of my husband's estate stuff without his death certificates. And the state of Louisiana saw fit to take 8 to 10 weeks to issue that. Right. Why do we need that? Right? He's deceased. That's undeniable. Why do we need that stuff? Yeah, I hope so too. I hope it goes better from here on out, but that would be horrible. David Castle, greetings and favor to you as well. Yes. So basically, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, you mean I'm about to turn 65? Okay. Boy, my hair is a mess. I'm about to turn 65 in December. And most people, it's a big milestone. They're turning 65, they get more benefits than they used to have, and things change. And then I found out in my case, nothing's going to change because I don't have enough credits. Now, the good thing is nothing's going to change. The bad thing is I'm not going to get what I thought I was getting because um, apparently when we were doing private contracting, my ex the was not counting it into or paying into that, and I let him handle the money. I know it's really stupid not to be more involved with the money, but back then, being a very creative person, once again, trying to figure out that kind of stuff made my head explode. Because yeah, I wasn't. Um, once again, I couldn't. There were times when I couldn't think. Like I said, this brain fog thing would overtake me, and fortunately, that doesn't happen much anymore. But brain fog is just the scariest thing, and it's so scary. Um, oh, will somebody please get that site? Somebody shoot the bot, please. I don't want to do it because I might accidentally block somebody. So this is what I've been saying is that some people are saying it's a prison. Not exactly, not exactly, because in a prison, although the prisons are getting more like that, they've always used the prisoners to do stuff without, without the same kind of pay you'd get if you were um, outside doing the same kind of work. But they're seriously fleecing us every minute. Um, and it's not just these paper product things, these paperwork things, these electronic things. Energetically, we're getting fleeced too. And I mean, a lot of us donate blood. I don't. I'm not. I'm not doing it. Um, I probably would have when I was younger if I hadn't been on birth control because you can't do it then. My dad used to give a lot of blood, but what we don't know is blood is worth thousands. I mean, the small pittance that people get when they sell their blood at a blood bank, at a plasma place, that's only a small portion of what it's worth. It can be sold for so much more. So they're making tons of money on that. They're making, well, not really money, they're making tons of funds. Tons of funds. So, yes, Iron Maiden. Well, yeah, training. There's another one. What does training really mean? Entrainment. Entrainment? There we go. It's another vehicle. Interesting, huh? Words don't mean what we think they mean. And for that reason, they can be used to trick us. And that is exactly why you have to go and learn legalese. You have to learn this other language and what it means. Hey, Gemini. Hey, Marilena. So, where does that leave us? You know. By the way, does anybody want to come in and talk about this? Because if so, I'm going to drop a link, and let me drop a link because it seems like some of y'all know more about this than I do, certainly. Um, like I said, I have trouble with this kind of thing. This is why I rather dumbly let my ex handle it. I thought I could trust him. What? Ah, isn't that cute? When you type Marilena, the next thing that comes up is a heart. Isn't that cute? Anything come up on under my name? Probably what? I just wonder. Hmm. Hey, Jim. Gemini Moon is here. She made it in. Yeah, it's like it seems to me. Now, I didn't know that she had to leave tonight. I didn't know we were going to lose her for a while here. As far as I knew, she was coming in to talk to us tonight. So I think probably part of that is she's not really used to this and she's just got here. She's not used to us. She's not used to these shows. She's not used to live streaming. She's not used to anything. So it probably didn't occur to her that, hey, you should really set this for a night when you're not busy. But so once again, where does this leave us as far as it almost seems like we're coming very close to being able to touch another kind of reality here if we can only figure out how to do it, you know? There are some people who have managed to do it, who have managed to get themselves out of the system and into something a lot better. Um, like I said, the one guy that it won a court case, got a case dropped by calling himself the living man. And I saw that. Um, I saw a video about that, and everybody thought he was kind of nuts, but he actually got it done, you know? So, and the other thing is, this isn't just the United States. This isn't just America. This sort of thing goes on everywhere. It's all over the place. Um, yeah, there's a lot to learn. And Brandy, I don't know if I gave you a wrench. If you've got a link to, I can't give you a wrench from here, but from StreamYard, StreamYard won't let me do it. But I'd have to do it. I have to do it through YouTube. But I would give it to you so that you could give us a link to this channel where we can learn more about this. Because Me Woman says she is just at the onset of doing this for herself right now, and we're going to be kind of following her journey into doing this, into how it's going to work for her, which is going to be interesting because, for me, it's like I kind of need to see things happen. I don't, it doesn't make sense to me otherwise. Um, it's mind, but yeah, Gemini Moon says it's mind boggling. Yes, it is mind boggling. It boggles my mind. Oh, you only have one source. Ducks, duck, duck. Michael Hauser has videos. Okay. So it's Michael Hauser. Now I can see that now. Okay. Because honestly, we need to know this stuff, especially if we want to have our own mall. We might be able to afford to buy a mall right now with this information. We might be able to afford to buy an island right now with this information. You see what I'm saying? This could be pretty big. Hmm. Yeah, this would be a great topic for a law firm to specialize in if they wanted to dare to do that. So, I suppose some people might find that kind of dangerous because, I mean, get an island and build them all on. I want my Tartarian castle. Maybe we can find a few Tartarian castles somewhere. Get an island and put them all. Ah, ah. Yep, that's basically Marilena. We've been talking about that since forever. I was talking about this with my friend Doran years ago, many years ago. And he couldn't, he had, you know what? He tried to get himself out of paying taxes and got himself in a lot of trouble. So this is why I'm kind of trepidatious. He actually, yeah, he actually ended up having some trouble, and he doesn't live on the mainland anymore. So you got to be careful how you do this. You can't just go into this la di da di da. You got to have some coaching. You got to have some um, malice and forethought. You got to have information. You got to know how to do this the right way. This isn't something that you should attempt willy nilly or anything because they're going to hold you to everything. Oh my goodness. A farm would be nice. Well, see, that's just it. We could have one attached to our place. We were thinking, what would be cool about? Oh boy, I go completely dark when I lean back. What would be nice about having a mall is those great big windows. We could put plant plants in the atrium. It's where we'd be planting our plants, growing our plants inside in a communal garden in the atrium, and then use the fountains as like a pool and a hot tub. It already has the pipes and stuff there. But yes, this has to be done properly. Hmm. Well, yeah, he is BPD. He is Ben. YJ is a smart person. Yeah, there is I think I mentioned it on this show before. There is actually a place where that is the way that they live, and they eat reeds. They were pretty much forced off their land, and so they built themselves floating islands out of reeds. Only thing is they have to keep building on it because eventually the reeds rot, and so they have to keep repairing them. But yeah, they actually are. Everything's floating island. Everything's done on water. Everything's done on the water. The kids go to school. They sail themselves to school. Uh, so it's like walking to school. It's kind of hazardous. They have to navigate a river. Um, but yeah, there are people who live like that, and then there are people who built them. I think I did mention. Yes, I put. I think I put it in our MeWe. The people who built themselves an island. Yeah, he's absolutely daft. Well, yeah, we all got to be here, right? I mean, you're my friends after all. Yeah, we have Thanksgiving tomorrow. Right, I'm going to be here. I'm thinking of maybe streaming tomorrow because I'm going to be here. I'm not going to be going to anything tomorrow. So I'm considering doing something different. By the way, I have to, geez, I made this and I totally forgot. I don't know if I can do this. Shoot. If I can do it while I'm streaming. Did anybody see oh, I'm looking for it. Oh, wow, they added something. You can have background music on this stream. Isn't that weird? I didn't know I could have background music. I might push a few buttons and see what happens. I'm going to try adding a video clip. Okay, we'll see if that ever uploads or not. So, we'll see if it can upload while I'm streaming. Oh, you don't have Thanksgiving there? I wouldn't think so. This is an American thing. 36 inches, not too hard to find. A 1990s 36-foot clipper? Really? For under 30,000? Whoa. Wow. Do I know Rhiannon? Well, Rhiannon's a goddess. Other than that, no. Rhiannon who, Ben? to find land higher up. Yeah. Well, and the pole shift may not be what we're expecting either. Yeah. And wouldn't you love to love her? All your life you've never seen a woman taken by the wind. Boy, my voice is kind of rough tonight. All your life you have never seen a woman taken by the wind. Would you stay if she promised you heaven? Will you ever win? Will you ever win? Yeah. We won't be here. We're moving up in frequency, so we'll be missing a lot of things that other people will have happen. I'm pretty convinced that we're not living in quite the same place that some people are. We're beginning to come apart. Remember when I said a while ago we're at the pop apart point where things are starting to come apart? I think that's going to be more evident that we're not living in the same world. We're not living in the same place, although it looks like we are. It's going to be it's going to be obvious. Yeah. Oh, you did? I would love us to sing along. When you get your guts up, you got to come in and sing with me in here. Maybe we should sing each other happy birthday. But yeah, I mean, we definitely got to think about this, and I'm definitely in on um, changing this. We may have, but it just when she came up with this, I'm there like, you mean me? We may have a way already to solve this. We may have a way already to be able to afford this huge change. And I'm like, whoa, if we would get access to our money. Now, John Levy did something like this. He got access to his money, but I guess he didn't do it quite the right way. But he actually found the number, went into some kind of documents, found the number, managed to charge something on it, and but then somebody figured it out and took it away and closed that down. But yeah, he managed to charge something on his social security number. Yeah, right, YJ. The frequency is going to make a difference. Some people, I'm pretty sure this is what's going to happen, or at least this is how I understand it. Some people will be living through a pole shift, a cataclysmic pole shift, but some will not. People will not all have the same experience. This is why I've been saying it's important to realize we don't all have the same experience. We will have different experiences than some people. I already am. Some people are already having an entirely different reality than me. I mean, I now live in a world where I can manipulate weather, I can manifest things, I can just make things show up, you know, for me. I'm figuring out how to drive my own reality in this life. And yeah, I think it might be physical. Yeah, we might be living a double life. Exactly. We're already living in every dimension somewhere. In every dimension, you know, we're somewhere doing something. Okay. Um, some in some of them we're dead already. This physical form's already dead. Um, that would be the one that I left. I'm pretty sure if I would have stayed at my other place, I would have been dead. Well, that one is already gone. She's probably long dead now. Um, okay, and so YJ comes up with so narcissists might actually be saying what they say they said when you clearly heard them say something different, even if you recorded it. It's a possibility in their mind, in their reality. It's a possibility that I have actually had it where I don't know how this was done, but for a while, I have a suspicion how it was done. But for a while, people were literally hearing me backwards. They were literally hearing the opposite of everything I said. It wouldn't happen all the time, just off and on. People who thought they were spiritually very wise and had gifts and stuff, it happened with them. I remember there was a woman who was doing Reiki, and she invited me over to practice Reiki on me because I make such a lovely guinea pig. And I shouldn't say that. I make such a lovely person to try things out like that on a lovely being. Anyway, um, I remember I said something to her like, I never eat at McDonald's. She says, well, you got to stop eating at McDonald's and so on and so forth. I said, I never eat at fast food places. And she said, no, I told you you've got to stop eating at fast food places. I said, I never have. I'm like, I'm really confused. I mean, I haven't for a long time. And, I stay away from for the most part, not always, but I mean, for the most part. And I looked at, it was something like that. It was something weird like that. And I looked at her husband standing next to her and said, what did you hear me say? Did you hear me say what did you hear me say? He heard me say what I thought I said. She heard me say something entirely different. The upshot of this is, but yeah, I'm not one, it's very rare, only when I'm like starving and out somewhere do I ever eat at fast food because I don't freaking know what all might be in that junk. It's kind of dangerous. Yeah, we're becoming our higher self. And as we move up in vibration and frequency, we're going to probably find a lot of discrepancy between ourselves and the rest of the world. And I just let them have that discrepancy. I don't argue with them about it. There's a very nice lady that I hope to be, that I just met. Hopefully I'll be friends with her. But, she's gonna get all her shots, no matter how bad they make her feel. And she's gonna get all of her, she's blah, 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 blah. I just sit there and I'm like, well, okay then. Uh, if that's your choice, if that's what you want to do. Because, if you try and educate people that don't want to be educated, they'll only get mad at you. They're only going to get upset with you. It's not going to work. People are like, if I tried to have a discussion with all the other ladies, we were having coffee together in the common room. If I tried to have a discussion about this, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't go well at all. That you just can't talk to everybody about this stuff. They're not ready and they won't be. You're pushing plateaus in the recesses of your brain. Hey, Bomber. How's it going, sweetie pie? Yeah, I know. Me too. Um, but when I'm hanging out with you guys, I can kind of latch on to something. I've things occur to me that maybe wouldn't have occurred to me otherwise. Yeah, um, we're supposed to. What are some synonyms for negative frequency that you come up with in the context of your comment? I like where you're going with that. Negative frequency. Well, synonyms. Synonym buns. I used to like synonym buns. They were very good for breakfast. Uh, Negative frequency. Well, I'm not. I don't even think I would call it a negative frequency. Um, exactly. I would call it a frequency discrepancy, maybe. That is, you have to. One of the things I keep getting hit with over and over is you have to vibrate the way you want things to go. That's the real law of attraction is you have to be what you want your reality to be. So emotionally, and you use your imagination and your emotion and your words to do this. So every time you say something, every time you write something, every time um, you have an emotion attached to a thought or a word, you're creating something because it's a vibration. So, uh, well, people just say lower frequency, um, incompatible frequency, perhaps, incompatible vibration. Why are you asking particularly? Oh, wow. Oh, you've been actively working to release things you can't remember, like memories repressed and so on. Yeah, well, a lot of us been working on that for a while. Materialistic, simple, 3D, fear-based, reactive, self-conscious, narcissistic, wouldn't it? Yeah, I think that would be fear-based. Yeah, yeah, I could see that. I see where you're going with this. Yeah. Um, I don't know. I might get a little bit more scientific and say, like I said, incompatible vibration, dissonance, dissonance. Because if we're talking about vibration, we're talking about resonance, we're talking about dissonance. If you play the resonance of something, you strengthen it. If you play the dissonance, you weaken it. You can even destroy it. You can even uncreate it. Now, this also goes along with something I have been meaning I have been meaning to say for a while, and I think we touched on it before. I'm not sure I was clear about it, but I have had to tell some of my friends who are very religious who come to me for help. The more that I take responsibility and own the things that happen without any religious background into it and without any of the religion stuff into it, the more I consider myself a divine being, a divine part of God, a divine representative of God, you know, um, and a creator, the more I do all that kind of thing, the less painful my life gets. And the more works out for me, more things work out for me. It has not, when I was religious, life was hard. Life was really hard. I wanted to be a good person. But honestly, I don't think religion's the way to do that. Um, which is maybe why you see some bad people getting some good things happening to them because they don't have the constraints we have of trying to be a good person. They just feel like they want something and they go after it and they get it because they feel they deserve it. They're just feeling it, man. They're being it. I deserve this. Why shouldn't I have this? Maybe that's how these people got into power in the first place, is because they just felt like the world was obligated to give it to them. Think about that. And I think I have said this before. Um, let's see, resonance distance. I want to make a coin mold for that poured silver coins. Resonance distance. Oh, good for you, Marilena. Yeah, that's why I think we really all need to make sure to do parasite cleansing on a regular basis because I'm pretty darn sure that the big parasites use the small parasites to control us. Right. And Palmer says the trauma we experienced before the age of 7 sets the stage for us for the rest of our lives unless we recondition the brain. Everything else we do won't stick. Yes. I mean, no, you know what? Teal Swan has addressed this. She said, for a lot of people, affirmations don't work because if you try to do an affirmation that doesn't agree with your internal lexicon, your subconscious will just say bullshit and reject it. Like if you truly believe, no matter what size you are, you truly believe, or no matter what you look like, or no matter, if you truly believe you're ugly and you try to tell yourself you're beautiful, your subconscious will say, oh, bullshit, you're just lying. And it won't work. Or if you say, I'm a millionaire, or I'm going to get $1 million, and you don't really believe that, sometimes you can fake it till you make it, sometimes because of the vibration of what you say, which some people would consider lying. I could tell you all, and maybe I will. I'll sit here and tell you. Actually, you don't realize this, but I'm a multimillionaire. I already have an island. I already own a mall. I'm already building that eco village. Okay. That might work. If I could convince people, and convince myself this is happening, that could actually work. So I'm like, whoa, this is how some people get their way and some don't, right? Yeah, this is how to actually heal. Yeah, it is a take on duality. Yeah, thank you. And for acknowledging that because I've been trying to say this for a long time. There's a place called the Resonance Academy. There's a guy, I'm trying to think of his name. It's a foreign name, but he is brilliant. And I've looked at this guy and have seen Einstein's face superimposed over his face with that funny little smile Einstein had. He is continuing Einstein's work and taking it places Einstein couldn't take it when he was here. And seeing Einstein with that funny little smile over him, I'm like, yeah, he's doing the Einstein thing. He's completing that work. Whether it is that, that's a spirit guide, I don't know. A reincarnation, I don't know. I don't think he's young enough for it to be a reincarnation. I'm not sure, but it could just be a spirit guide. But he has the Resonance Academy, and he talks a lot about this. This was something he started to come up with that when he was a kid. He was another one of these kids that asked all the wrong questions. That drove his teachers completely up the wall because they didn't have an answer for him. Okay. Yeah, this is why I often live. Yeah, YJ. Always tell them what you love about them and why, and every day it's all true, the goal. Yes, you are really helping them. You are really helping them. Okay, let me post that. You're going to feed the feed. He's going to feed the feed, folks. That should be it. Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. And come on in. Because honestly, and I know that intellectually, putting it into practice can be a little harder because our minds been messed with. You know, we've been gaslighted, we've been brainwashed to do the wrong thing. You know what? If you play, okay, I'll tell this story to talk a little bit more about frequency. Just to demonstrate, I went to I was going to go to a drum circle out in the field. I was at some kind of an event. There was a drum circle out in the field. I wanted to not miss it. So I walked there early and I was very tired. And I had this ocean drum, which is, I basically laid it on the ground. It's actually uh, synthetic material, so it wasn't going to get hurt by being laid on the ground. I laid it on the ground and laid my head down on it in that spot, so that I wouldn't miss it. I figured wherever, I was so near that I would definitely be woke up by the drums. Well, I woke up with my head bouncing off of my drum because everybody showed up and started drumming. And of course, my drum was taking up that resonance. That resonance. It picked up that resonance and was beating in tune with the other instruments. Now think about that. That's how things really work. That's how things work. You can hit a string on an instrument and move another string on an instrument. Our bodies are the same way. You go to somewhere with a very nasty resonance, you're going to start feeling that. It can even wear on you. And I think that's part of why trying to deal with my last place was so hard. The resonance there was so hard that trying to keep my resonance up was almost impossible. Trying to keep my frequency high, so hard. I had to work so hard at it. Yeah, he's a great dad. Okay, I see you back there. I see you back there, David. I'm adding you to the stream. And here is David.
Let's feed that stream. How we doing today? Can you hear me?
Yes, hear you loud
Excellent.
and clear.
I got a new phone. My fourth one was hacked into, so I went ahead and got a fifth one, just for the heck of it.
Sounds like my friend Tanya. She had a guy hack into all of her phones
Yeah.
and her tablets and her computer and her laptops.
Well, I'm
I
an Aries.
found
That
out-
just feeds me. That just makes me more determined than ever. That doesn't make me want to give up. That makes me laugh and say, okay, I'll get another one.
Well, she's a Sag, and she did that. She has a passel of them now, and he's hacked into all of them.
I've had 7
Because
total because I've had 3. I tried to buy three track phones to see if he could do it to a track phone, and he did it to a track phone. So, oh well.
know how to do it. Here it turns out I didn't realize this. It's the same guy, okay? Tanya's the one who was going to be a satanic sacrifice for the satanic god. He befriended her entirely so he could sacrifice her, but she didn't die.
See, I have that issue as well. They were attacking one of my friends. Actually, they were attacking several of my friends, and they were filming them when they didn't know that they were being filmed, and they were putting them on the camera and taping them when they were like getting out of the shower or something like that. And
That's what he
I
was
was,
doing to her.
yeah, I can't like sit by and let somebody do that because I'm an Aries, and we have some kind of a bond with our friends that's just not going to happen. And
I'm Aries rising, and I understand.
Yeah. And when I found out that was happening, I immediately told my friends, and then he started attacking me. So he doesn't try to shut them down, though. He wants them to keep theirs on, but I've told him I'll put duct tape on their phones so he couldn't see anything. But he wants to shut me down. So he tries harder.
Oh my God. And this is going to be a problem as we have this. Okay, now I'm going to really go even weirder on you. Get just even a little bit weirder on you. A little deeper because this is deep woo and I have deep thoughts. And that's one of my things, deep thoughts, because I'm deep woo. Okay. If we're in a matrix and what if some of us are being hacked in the very same way?
Absolutely. You're absolutely correct. And maybe you're being hacked this way. Maybe it's a test, or maybe it's one of these trials that you're supposed to be having. Do I believe in truth as much as I say I do? Well, I put myself in harm's way to protect my friends, like I always say that I will. And I will never give up. And my morals and my values aren't for sale. And I will take this guy out one way or the other. I promise you.
Yeah, there are people who call me up because they know I'm very resolute.
Yeah.
If I say, they know that I can do things, and it's like you could do it too.
Yeah.
But you really got to change your head first.
We're all on the same frequency. You're exactly right.
Change your brain.
Yeah.
You got to change your mind. Your mind, you can do it. Now, there's stuff I still have that I have to shift into a different gear here, into a different frequency, because I know I should be able to do these things, and it's totally possible. People have done it,
Absolutely.
But
and maybe that's why you came here to practice, so you would be able to do it. Because when you're somewhere else, I'm sure that you can do it. So I think a lot of it's just a test. Like you were saying a few minutes ago before I got on, I had another incident that happened like 8 months ago where I was talking to a lady. I was trying to get her to give me some advice about one of my friends that was having depression problems. And my friend would call me like late at night and crying and wanting to be distracted, I guess. She would tell me that she felt like hurting herself, and I would sit there and talk to her, and I'd make her laugh, and I'd take her mind and distract her off at the moment. I would get her to deep breathe, and I'd talk to her, and as long as you get past that moment, then you're okay. But it's all about a challenge about how you can control yourself. And I'm not perfect. I still go back to the old ways a little bit. I don't see um, anything wrong with violence, if that's the last tool that you have in your tool shed to make someone wake up and see what they're doing is wrong. I've always been really, really good at violence for some reason. I like violence. I think I don't want to do it, but if you have to do it, I mean, it's a tool. If a small country gets taken over by a dictator, I mean, you want them to retake their country. I mean, and so violence is probably the only way they're going to do it is kicking this guy out. So I see things a little bit differently sometimes.
Yeah, we don't all see things the same. I'm going to move into my room and plug in because I have a feeling we're going to go into some subjects tonight, and I don't want to run out of
Boom
juice.
chicka wah, let's roll.
Okay. I don't want to run out of juice. I'm moving to a place where I can plug in better.
Yeah, but I think you're exactly right. If somebody's in that frequency where something happened to them today and they were all mad anyway, you can say anything to them. You could be walking down the road and I see you on the other side of the road and I waves, "Hey, how's it going? Good to see you out today. Beautiful day we got here." And you might, yeah, and you might hear something like, "Well, David said hi to me today, but he acted like I should be out walking and doing some exercise or something, and I don't know where he's coming from or what gives him." You know, people will take it any way they want to take it at the time. If they're in a bad mood, they're going to take it bad.
That's right. It's really not your fault.
Right.
I could not believe some of these people that supposedly were on a higher level.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, I'll tell you, the ones that really worry me sometimes are the ones that talk about that they've killed their ego.
Yeah. They ain't killed nothing. They ain't killed nothing. Some of these people, you can't really listen to what they say because actions speak a whole lot louder than words ever do. So, I mean, they can say that they preach forgiveness and compassion, but when it comes right down to the situation and you give them a situation, that's not at all what they want you to do. They want you to do just the opposite of it. They want you to isolate these people, and they want you to pretty much destroy their reputation and destroy what's little status that they had. And these people, I mean, just because they have problems, I have problems too. I mean, I still have depression every now and then. I still have anger every now and then. So, I mean, it's about you getting control of yourself. And I had one of my best friends this week. I said that she had to take a little bit of a time off, a little bit of a break, and I knew I was on a different timeline because back when I would have a best friend, uh, you always relied on them and you depended on them to be there in your tough times and in your times that you needed help. And the fact that this person considered herself a best friend and decided, well, you're having a hard time, so I'll see you when you're not having a good or a bad time. I mean, that kind of, yeah, I don't think that's the definition that I ever came up with a best friend. So I was probably doing it wrong the whole time that I've been here.
Well, there you go. You were just doing it wrong the whole time.
Doing it wrong. Yeah, there you go. It's a lesson learned, you know?
Yeah, because, geez, I am such a old school in some ways, really. I realize that some people, it don't mean nothing, the words that they say.
Yeah.
Don't mean nothing till you sign it on the dotted line. You remember that song?
Yeah. I can't remember saying it, but don't mean nothing. The words that you say don't mean nothing. The games that we play or something like that. Yeah, something like that.
Don't be nothing, no victim, no crime. Don't mean nothing till you sign it on the dotted line. That's what we're dealing with here.
Yeah, and I think people that love music like you do, like I do, we get our messages in our music that we listen to. You'll get these messages coming through, and you heard it 20 years ago, but you didn't hear it quite like this, and you're starting to hear the words, and it resonates with you when you hear those words, and those are the breadcrumbs that you're looking for.
There you go with resonance again.
Yeah. When you have these hobbies that you love to do, there's a reason why you love to do them, and that's the ones that you're going to get these messages coming through, and it's got almost like you're meditating or you're channeling because when you hear it, you know, you're like, oh, I never knew that that was in that song before. That's amazing. And it's the same thing that you believed in all along. So it's a breadcrumb to help you follow yourself and get back to the yellow brick road if you get lost. And that's why you put it there. You put all these breadcrumbs where you knew that you would find them because you knew you loved music, and eventually you would hear that song.
Well, and I would agree with that. That the songs are, once again, what are they? They're vibration. What
And
is
for,
singing? Vibration.
yeah,
What
yeah,
is singing really, though? Communication and probably creation. I was just thinking that. And actually, I have had people tell me that when I would play my guitar and sing, that they would actually travel somewhere. It was like I was taking them
yeah,
somewhere. Like, yeah, they were going say, wow, just take, and they would say, I never heard that song like that before. I heard that song a million times, but when you sing it, I hear such different things in that song. It's like a whole
yeah.
different song. I always hated that song, but now I really kind of like it, that kind of thing. I heard that all
Absolutely.
the time.
And with my voice, I shouldn't sing anything, but I always would sing when a song came on my radio. I'd pick up my phone, I would just randomly spin it, and whatever contact would come up with, I'd sing to them. I'd sing very poorly in a Southern accent, and it would at least make them laugh. And when it makes them laugh, hey, that's a good frequency as well. So I don't care as long as it's making them laugh. Maybe it's distracting them. Maybe they're having a really, really tough time at that time, and I just made them laugh, and hopefully I can help them turn it around. You know what I mean? I don't care if I sound shitty.
Absolutely. Well, it's a lot of it's intent too, your
Yeah,
intention. The astral dreams are amazing. Yeah, I'm trying to watch chat and listen to you too.
yeah.
Uh, our chatters are so interesting in here.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, they're
Everybody's
so
they're on the same
intelligent.
frequency as we are. We're no better than they are.
Right.
So they're I mean they got this in them too. You know.
Like I said, if anybody wants to come in and chitty chat with us in here and talk, click that link. It'll take you backstage, and you'll come right in
Yeah.
backstage, and we'll get you on.
Yeah, I need some new friends to spend more time with. So because I just lost one, so I need to be able to express myself
Sorry
more
to hear
often.
that.
And
I'm
Rufus,
sorry.
he doesn't speak good English. He speaks Shizu, and he kind of looks at me like he might get it sometimes, but he doesn't laugh quite as often as my jokes as I
Is
thought he
he?
should. So, you know, there's that.
Oh, see now my cat. I'm telling you, this cat. Well, cats and dogs understand more than they let on. They try to pretend like they don't. But when I told this guy, when he first got here, and he first crawled out after everybody left, because I adopted him from somebody who had died and didn't pet him. Almost never petted him and didn't take very good care of him. He comes creeping in my door. He kind of gives me a shy, sort of a sideways look. I said, "You got pretty eyes." And he did the little eye squeeze.
Yeah,
And I said, "Well, cowboy, you better get up here and get your belly rubbed." He came right up here, rolled over. He's doing it now. I say, "Cowboy, you better get a belly rub." And
yeah,
guess what? That's what he does right here. He rolls right over, assumes a position, says, "Okay, Mom, anytime you want to give a belly rub, I'm up for that." Look at this. See that kitty there? I said, "You better roll over and get a belly rub." And there he is, doing it. And people say they can't get their cats to do anything. Mine comes when he's called. And when I say roll over and get a belly rub, he does it. So, what's this bit about cats being aloof and not wanting to do anything you say? Well, if you give them what they want, you make it worth their while, you know.
Well,
It's
I
like
heard also
anybody
that
else.
I heard that cats can actually see your energy at the time, and like any other animal, they can, the felines, something about their eyes, and they can tell you if you're in a shitty mood. Why would they want to go around you? They probably
Right.
don't want to go around you. But if you're in a loving mood and you talk to them like that, I mean, you see what the result is.
Um, honestly, I say that a lot, honestly. Why? People wonder, are you ever speaking not honestly? Well, when I'm speaking frivolously, maybe when I'm speaking humorously, I don't know. That's still really honest. I guess I'm usually honest. Most always honest. I don't lie very much.
Me
I,
neither. I don't.
I
I try
don't
to be
really
honest, but
remember
I'm
last
very
time I told
sarcastic.
any.
Yeah,
I'm kind of sarcastic. Yeah, that's really more sarcastic than lying. I don't remember last time I ever told a lie, in fact. I'm not
and
George
it takes too much
Washington, that's
energy.
there.
It takes too much energy to a lot of people. Might
Well,
as well tell
yeah.
them the truth and get it over with.
Right. And you have to keep track of all your lies and shit, and it's no good. It's no fun at all.
I'm married,
Um,
so honesty and trust and loyalty is what we're all about. So if somebody catches me
mhm,
lying, I don't expect them to ever trust me again if I'm lying. So I try to tell
mhm.
them the truth. Sometimes I might leave out a couple of the details of the truth, but it's still the truth. It's just not like the whole truth. But yeah, you got to tell people the truth because as soon as they find out you're lying to them, you can't have a relationship if you don't have
I'll tell
trust.
you who you really don't want to lie to. You really don't want to lie to kids because they remember that.
Yeah,
Kids will remember that. Oh, yeah, they do. And the first thing we do is lie to them.
yeah,
Marilena, I'm really sorry to hear that you lost a friend, but remember, they're not really lost. They're
yeah,
just not in 3D anymore. You'll see
absolutely.
them again. They'll probably come back and visit you. Um, but yeah, Marilena, sorry to hear that. You can no longer see your friend because they have gone on.
Yeah.
Um, uh, let's see.
That's how I feel about mine as
Take a look.
well. And she hasn't like
Oh,
moved on,
and
but she might as well.
YJ says if I'm low, I take my dog out and throw a stick or a frisbee, and sometimes he knows if I'm gloomy. He comes and bumps me, and she comes and bumps me. Yeah, they know. And dogs are really good at knowing and cheering you up, and so are kitties. My kitties have always been my therapy. My therapist is furry and has 4 paws and a cute little pink nose. That's my therapist right there. I'm in therapy. Oh my God, he's been such a help. You know what? That's a resonance, the purring.
Oh yeah. And it's the
That
vibration.
resonance
You can
is
feel it
actually
just like
really
everything else.
beneficial.
Yeah.
Hmm. That's a beneficial resonance they give off. So they're all healers. All cats are healers, all of them.
I had a
They
stray
have,
cat over where I live, and there's a stray cat that has been coming over my house maybe for almost a year now. And for like 6 months, he wouldn't let me touch him, wouldn't let me pet him, wouldn't do anything. But now every time I get there, he runs from 2 houses away at a sprint because he knows I'm going to bring him food. And I immediately sit down in a chair, and he comes up and gives me hugs and rubs against my face. And yeah, he's really showing affection now that he's gained some trust in me.
yeah. And once they trust you, you're all set.
Yeah.
You're all set. This
It's a
guy,
positive energy exchange because they're purring when you pet them. So you're getting that energy and they're getting the energy with the love that you're
mhm,
showing them when you pet them and you talk to them. So I think everything that you touch, everything you come in contact with every day is a energy exchange. So it could be a positive energy exchange, or just say that your toe comes in touch with a coffee table or something. That's a negative energy change because it caused you to have pain. So, I mean, everything's a positive or negative energy exchange.
you know, uh I'd even like to think or attempt, endeavor, maybe endeavor's a better word, to not even think of it as negative, but just an energy exchange that maybe I didn't
Right.
desire.
Or it could be a lesson that you just learned. I learned that I should probably pay attention where my toe goes, because if I hit it on the coffee table, it's going to make me feel like that. So it could
Mhm.
be a lesson learned. I think everything that you go through
Could
in this
be.
experience is an experience, is a lesson, or it's a distraction. Let's say you get hooked on drugs. Drug makes you feel really, really good the first time you do it, and then you're trying to feel like that every time you do it. So that drug takes over the power that you used to have, and you're giving the power to this drug, and therefore you are distracted, and you're going to be distracted, and nothing's going to work right. Everything's going to go wrong until you find your crumbs and you get back to your yellow brick road, and you take whatever took your power. You got to take it back from it, and show it who's the boss. There's nothing wrong with doing something every once in a while. If you do something every once in a while, there is absolutely nothing wrong. It's not good or it's not bad. But once it takes your energy and you think you have to have it, that's when you have to teach your body and teach your mind that you're the boss of your body and your mind. And you'll give it to it every now and then, but you ain't giving it to it every day.
Well, it's like I was saying the other night. So I couldn't find my wallet. My friend asked me out, wanted to go out to the uh, out to Hartville. Couldn't find my wallet. It was a nasty day. Hartville, the way to Hartville has some very windy roads, and when it's icy, it could be dangerous. Now, I was at first, like anybody would be, I at first did not like the fact that I could not find my wallet and was a little concerned. I'm like,
Yeah.
whoops. But something told me it was going to be all right. Although I called my friends just to make sure. I called my psychic friends saying, what do you think about this? Well, one of them said, you know that David did this, right? Yeah, David did this. I'm like, okay, so there's a reason.
Right.
So what we had done instead of taking that trip is we hung around, did some music, and found the cord to my DJX. So now I have a DJX that I
Awesome.
have to work with. So, we had been threatening to do that, never did it. So we got that accomplished. We did actually get something accomplished that day, although not what we expected. The second time, it still hadn't transpired. My wallet still hadn't transpired.
Mm.
And we declined again to go down to Hartville. And I was just saying to Gemini, you know, well, if that was what all that needed to happen, then my wallet, when the lesson is over, my wallet's just probably going to show up then. At the time I said that, about a moment later, Yolanda walks in and says, I found your wallet.
Yeah.
It's right here. It was right in a place that we had looked time after time. We had been over this place. It was exactly right in the path, right where you could see it. It was in plain sight. But we didn't see it. Why? Because it was in a port. That's when I was talking about ports and deports.
Yeah.
Now, I could take that as a negative, but you know what I kept hearing in the back of my mind was, well, what are you going to make it? Are you going to make it that it was stolen? Are you going to make it that it was that you'll never find it again, that it's somewhere inaccessible? Are you going to make it? How are you going to cause it to be? Or are you going to cause it to be? Are you going to cause it to show up? That, oh, you're going to be fine and it's going to show up. So, yeah, I decided that it was going to be fine and show up after whatever had to happen. So today we went down to Hartville. It was a beautiful day. My wallet had showed up. We went down and we found a lot of neat stuff and had a lot of fun. And it was a great day. And I don't know that it would have been if we would have gone on a different day. I don't know if it would have worked. Maybe something bad would have happened. It just, so we don't always know that it's a bad thing. I mean,
Yeah.
Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it a bad thing that my wallet disappeared?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't like it, but was it bad? No, not really. It wasn't really
If,
bad.
if it's possible to, you got to pull some good out of a bad experience and make it worthwhile and make it a lesson, because there's always, something bad might have happened, but probably something good had come out of it, or something happened that wouldn't have happened if this event didn't happen and put you behind or something. You might meet somebody that triggered a memory in your head, or anything that's can be taken as a positive. Take something from it.
Yeah, it's really, this goes back to, I keep getting told by my guides, my friends, they are my friends on the other side, and people, that's another thing. People, religious people and stuff will try. They're demons. Don't listen to them. Blah, 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 blah. They've helped me so many times. They're my friends. They've,
All right.
shown me that they're my friends. They've proved to me that they're my friends on the other side, so just back up, whatever works for you, but this is what works for me. They're giving me, and sometimes they are the instruments to bring me a lesson. Sometimes they're trying to help me in a kind of a weird way. Um, I'm not sitting here in judgment of that. We are kind of hard-headed here. We have so many filters to get through. Sometimes they have to do it in kind of a weird way. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And sometimes if you're around people, let's just take religion, for example, and you don't believe in the same kind of religion that they do, you immediately get attacked. And religion is supposed to teach forgiveness and compassion, but if you don't believe in what they do, then you're not in the little boat with them. You're not in the lifeboat. They want to kick your ass right out of the lifeboat just because you don't believe in the same thing. And I mean, if your God believes in kind of vengeance and wants to bring doom upon you because you don't believe certain things, or that you ask questions, that's my favorite thing that I like to make fun of religion. God, you can't ask questions about other things. That's blasphemy. That's a chicken shit God that I don't want any part of. My God wants me to ask questions, and then He wants me to come back and say, "Yeah, you were right," and then Him say, "Yeah, I told you I was right, but I don't care that you went and found out yourself. I think that's great." My God's not a pussy. He wants you to find out things for yourself.
Right.
Yeah, and he doesn't. He's not going to be mad at you
Do
if you
you
do it.
really want the kind of God that we
Yeah,
see in the Old Testament?
yeah, no, 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 no. That's not for me.
Is that really your idea of an all-powerful, all-seeing, all-loving God? No,
Even though the fire and brimstone part in the wintertime, it sounds pretty good to me. I don't care to have a house on the lake
in the
somewhere
winter
and fly
times,
the
like
lake.
send
Oh,
some of
that's
that up
fine.
here so I can warm my house up.
Yeah, I'll take
Yeah,
it.
only thing is, it's probably radioactive,
Uh, what's not these days?
right? I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm
Well, I'm sure
radioactive.
most of our food probably is, and most of our water is that we put into
Well,
this
yeah, they
meat
do.
suit.
Well, see, that's just it. I'm really careful what I buy. I try to keep away from that as much as possible.
Yeah,
I buy from an actual farmer. I, even the meat, I try and buy it mostly from an actual farmer who doesn't use GMOs and
right.
stuff and actually raises the stuff out in the sun and not, it's just like, and another thing is, another tip is buy duck eggs if you can get them. Duck eggs are great. You can usually get them cheaper than hen eggs and they're bigger.
Excellent.
So, and they're more natural. People don't mess with ducks as much.
Does it taste different than chicken eggs? I've never had one. That's why I've asked.
No, you know what?
Okay.
They really don't taste much different than a chicken egg. They're about the same. Some people say they're a little creamier, but they taste very similar. And if you cook them up into an omelet, you wouldn't know.
I stopped
And
drinking
they're
pop
about as
like
big
three
as
years
two
ago.
eggs.
Yeah, I don't drink pop anymore. I just drink purified water or coffee. That's all I drink. Um, Recently, I've had to buy like a 6 pack of Sprite because for some reason we have a shortage of purified water and we're not getting like the purified water as we used to. So I might drink, say for lunch, or if I eat earlier, I might drink just a little bit of pop and then drink a little of it later. I break it up in two. But other than that, if it would come back having just as much water, I would drink purified water all the time. I'm just as satisfied with that.
Yeah, I really I love purified water, but I also have my teas.
Hmm.
I make like I really here I had a doctor back me up on this. I make ginger lemon tea, and then I usually add mint, or sometimes I add cinnamon. So then a doctor comes on my feed and he's saying this is one of the best drinks you can drink to clean your system out and
Plus, the more,
and you
yeah,
know decrease inflammation. And I'm like, oh well, yeah, and I drink that a lot. I mean, every day I have some. And so the only thing I find, and I think we've all found this when we've changed and gotten cleaner diets, is there'll be a point at which your body just decides that it wants you to be even cleaner, that
right.
it wants more
And you don't
even.
even crave it anymore because you feel better. And the more you get rid of the chemicals and the more you get rid of the fluoride, your pineal gland, it activates it starts getting decalcified. It goes away, and you can start using your really good intuition, and it makes you feel really, really good. And I mean, I don't even want pop anymore. I would rather have purified water.
Right. I do have occasionally I have some, but I don't have the
Yeah.
sugared kind.
Right.
I
Well,
really,
occasionally you
really.
can have anything. That's just the rules of the game. It's as long as it's an occasional thing, you know. Is it that bad for you? It might have had a few chemicals in, but I mean, if you only having it every now and then, you get rid of them. So I mean, it's
Right,
not
you
bad for
can
you.
get
Yeah,
rid of them. It's when you clog yourself up by having too
exactly.
much all the
And
time.
then you can't get rid of them because all you're pouring syrup through your veins, and your veins are all clogged up. You know.
That's right. Uh, my pineal gland says it sees an apple pie in my future. Pineal.
Absolutely.
Pineal.
I hear you.
But we're going to screw it up. Screw it up perfectly to learn the most from it.
Yeah.
And
No
I
doubt.
could thought, Bomber, hey, if you're going to screw things up, do it right.
Right. Learn a lesson and learn a really good lesson. Really screw things up every
Yeah,
now and then it comes back
really
on you. Yeah.
screw up. You
Yeah.
really can learn from it. Okay, there's some sage advice. Um, actually, I think maybe that's one of the reasons I'm so smart now. Probably.
That's right. That's one of the reasons why these things come and visit me every now and then because I don't care. I'm not impressed by them being a different color or anything. I want to know what they have. They wanted to tell me what the trip was for. Uh, if they want to communicate certain messages or tell certain things, I'll listen to them. And if it resonates, I'm pretty cool with that. But I don't judge. If something's really ugly, I mean, if it has good
Mhm.
energy, it probably doesn't think I'm really, really gorgeous either. I mean, it's used to certain things, and we're used to certain things, and you should judge them by their energy, not the way they look.
Well, that's one of the things that my guides, one of the first things in my very early videos, my Divine Mother and Father videos,
Mhm.
one of the things that they said over and over again to me in the videos is, well, in and out of the videos, is learn to learn how to recognize people, beings, by their energy
Yeah,
pattern, not their looks, not the way they sound, not anything else. It's the only thing you can trust. It's the only thing that can't be faked is the energy they actually are.
absolutely. And if you
If you can,
meditate, if you meditate and feel what your energy feels like under when you're meditating, then you can know when another energy is around you. And you might feel like you're getting ready to have a panic attack or something, but that could be something's energy that's sitting around you, maybe feeding off your energy. Or in the orbs, when they came in, I felt like my heart was going to like explode out of my chest, but I never felt like I was in danger. I just started, for some reason, my heart started just pounding and pounding, and I took a couple of deep breaths, got through it. While I was taking the deep breaths, I could feel that the energy wasn't there to hurt me. It was just their energy. They can't control what their energy feels like around you. If you can't handle it, they'll leave and they won't come back. But if you can handle it and you take a couple of deep breaths and you do get through it, well, that's kind of like a certain pay scale there. You've graduated that one, and so you're going to have another experience, and it's going to be even better than that one was because you handled that energy as well as you could handle it. And you didn't freak out, you didn't judge it, and therefore you get to move up and have a more exciting experience, maybe.
Well, yeah, that's we've talked about that before. And this is part of the way that we gain in frequency. I think I want to get back to this. I don't think we're going to experience some of the things that other people are going to experience.
Uh-huh.
I have been told that I'm going to be taken care of every step of the way. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to live. This body is going to actually live a lot longer if I so desire it to.
Yeah.
And that I'm not going to have to suffer a lot of these things that people say we're going to be suffering.
Right.
So why is that? Well, probably because we're going to rise above it.
Or maybe you've already been through it in a previous lifetime, D. Maybe this is like your seventh or eighth life cycle, and maybe they're on their third or fourth, and they have to yet to experience something like that. One of my really close people that I listen to on the internet is Alexander the Ganja Shaman, and he talks about the numbers and talks about what different life cycles have to attend with when they're here on that life cycle number. And just because somebody is on a different life cycle than you, they've had experiences, that you might not have had yet until you get to your next life cycle. Maybe you didn't want to feel that until later. I know I was in a lot of relationships when I was younger, and I didn't, until recently, I didn't feel like I was ever like appreciated or loved in any of these relationships. I think that maybe later on in my life, that's when I was supposed to experience what love was like, because I mean, it hasn't been here in this town since I've been here, and it's just different things. You might experience love, early. So more things about some things than I do, and I know about experiences that you don't. And that's why they try to label us so much. They try to label us so we divide and we don't talk about this shit because they don't want us to know that we know what's going on. And the more they can label you something, it divides you and you get further away from the pack.
Well, that's just it, is that this labeling stuff that occurs pretty early on.
Yeah.
We're actually in a hypnotic state all the way up to 5.
Yeah.
And everything before 5, you're kind of in a hypnotic
And that's
state.
why school's so important. If you don't send your kid to school, I mean, they'll throw you in jail for not sending you to school. So
Right,
they
they
want you
have
there.
to indoctrinate those people.
That's your obedience training. That's your obedience training, and that's where you get brainwashed.
Yeah, honestly, it's one of those things where you have to realize, well, that this all goes with the subject in a way, is the manipulation of our energy. We have so much energy, we have so much potential. We are divine creators. How are they going to create without us?
Yeah.
When
They can't create. That's just the thing, they can't create. And that's why you see them put stuff on TV, because they want you to think about that and they want you to create that, because they can't create that without your energy.
Exactly. The whole thing about, like I said, there have been times when I've literally stopped. I stopped gaming because I started seeing my stories that I was coming up with in the game.
Yeah.
I started seeing it show up in life. Some of the stuff show up in life. And I started hearing about how we are creators. We can create things. We can create thoughts. We can create thought forms. And I'm like, what if I'm creating thought forms? And that led me down a really weird path of investigation. But oh, hell yeah, we're creating thought forms all the time.
That's
We
why you
don't
see the news.
realize
It's
it.
all bad
Then
news.
they die very quickly.
Yeah.
They go very quickly. But yeah, I think we create them quite a bit and don't even realize we're doing that.
Well, they show these shootings and they show everything because they want you to be scared and create it where you're at. I mean, I don't know why they don't change the name of the news to the bad news. Well, and then they could have a show afterwards called the good news, and they could actually show all good stories. But they want you in a fear, in a angry. They want you that in that frequency because you can be controlled better when you're in that frequency. So
Yeah, you know what? It's like I have a friend. Right now, he's just a friend. I don't know if he'll ever be any more than a friend. He's a lot younger than me, but we're very simpatico. When we go
absolutely,
out, we don't argue. We don't fight about things. We don't have that kind of judgment thing. We don't, when we say something, we don't automatically think that the other person is trying to hurt us.
right.
But we don't have a boyfriend girlfriend relationship. The boyfriend girlfriend relationship we've been taught to believe in is a program. Gemini and I were talking about this.
Yeah,
It's a freaking program. The marriage program is a program. It's a
absolutely.
program. And if you follow it, you're going to hurt, man. I mean, your program of what a relationship should look like if you're boyfriend and girlfriend, that's a specific program. And if it doesn't follow it, you're going to start to be dissatisfied. By not having it be that we're a boyfriend girlfriend, we're just partners out, we're just people out having fun with each other. He's just
Yeah.
like somebody to explore stuff with. It just takes that out of the equation and we get along great.
Yeah. Well, I haven't
We
dated in a
don't
long
have
time.
this
Yeah,
bit
I,
about who are you with?
right,
Who's on
exactly.
your phone? We don't search through each other's phone. When he says I was out with a friend, I don't care what friend. When he says I'm leaving now, I want to go see a movie, I don't ask if he's going to be alone or with somebody.
Yeah.
That's his business. It's like, and when I have something I have to do, he doesn't ask either. And it's like it's so liberating. I'm like, wow, it can actually work that way. You can
Well,
actually have a
oh
relationship
yeah,
without the hooks and the cloying and the judgments and because we're not calling it that kind of relationship.
there you
We're
go.
not putting it in that box.
Well, I quit dating
So
because one of the last people was dating, me and this girl went out to eat and came back to my house, and then it started getting hot and heavy, and we started having sex, and she reaches up and she starts choking me. And I just kind of quit and kind of like look at her and say, "What are you doing?" She said, "Oh, I'm choking you. I'm into that." And I said, "Okay." And then I just get off and I start being my. And she's like, "No, you don't have to do it if you're not. I'm not. I know I'm not. I don't have to do it because you're leaving my house right now because I don't know what you've been watching, but I mean." I wasn't here for a wrestling match or to get beat on. This is you've taken this to a dark place where it's not healthy. It's not healthy for me to reach out and choke somebody. So, and therefore, uh, I guess I'll see you around later. And I just decided that I had ran into the part of the human race that was raised by Jerry Springer, and I don't want any kind of part of that. Jerry can have his people back. They can chant Jerry all he wants. That's when society started to break down, as far as I'm concerned.
yeah, well, I think it might even be farther back than that, but just the underpinnings of it we didn't see it
Which
as
you got to
well.
think about it too. Most parents, when I was little, maybe one parent worked in the 80s, but maybe one parent worked and one worked part time. But now you've got everybody having to work. Everybody has to work to make that money. You got you. They took the after school specials that taught morals and they taught values. It came on right after the kids got out of work or out of school, and their parents maybe at work, so they had at least something decent to watch. Now they have something that mama can't tell who's the daddy's baby. And they find out that hey, if I act like that, look, I can get on TV like they did. and they're learning the wrong morals and the values, and the wrong lessons in life. And
They said, why in the hell are we sending kids to school? Why? Why?
to get them inoculated into the system of dread and
Right.
despair.
Right. To make them good little robots.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah,
To get those values into them that we want, you got to be thus and so.
and
There
that's
are
why
people
people
who,
go ahead.
and then there's this other thing, and I'm not faulting people who work hard
Hmm.
and, all that. I mean, I respect that. Jason works very hard. He's he's works mostly at factories. When he gets a job, it's almost always at a factory or doing something really physical.
Hmm.
And but why is it that some people have so much more value than other people when the job they're doing is
Right.
nothing?
That's right. And they're not really actually paying you for that job. What they're doing is paying for you for your time that you're there. So what makes somebody else's time worth more than what your time
Why is his
is?
time
You
more
know?
valuable than my time? Why is
Yeah.
Grandpa Sniffer's time so valuable that they're going to pay him till the end of his life
Yeah.
for, which they do, and all of these people, that they're going to pay him so much money until the end of their life, and they're going to make that family very, very wealthy. How much more are their lives really worth? How much is that executive's life
Well,
worth more?
actually, it's costing them more than what they think, because then their children are growing up and they're letting the TV train them and make them grow up with TV values. That if you're dumb as a rock, then you can get your own show and call it the Kardashians and make fun of stupid rich people. And that I don't see how that's appealing. I've never seen how it's appealing to see on TV how some people act, and some people have no idea about anything, and they just lucked into money, because these most of these people are just idiots.
Mm-hmm. And people will win money and have a
Yeah.
whole bunch of money and then be absolutely miserable within a year.
And don't get
And
me wrong, it's not Kim Kardashian's fault that she's an idiot. You know, she was raised by idiots, and therefore it's like a learned, like a guy that beats his woman.
yeah,
His dad probably beat his wife, and that's just a learned behavior that you got to get out of their system. And it's not these people's fault that they're stupid. Uh, they hadn't had to do
this is
anything their
water,
whole
by the
life.
way.
Yeah,
This is purified water.
yeah,
I'm drinking a half gallon of it here.
yeah.
I got to tell you guys, will you guys please not be dehydrated when you come in here? Do you know that I sit here and do this and I become so dehydrated?
Yeah, I drink this big thing of water right now. I love water. I drink water more than anything else, because you actually feel like you're full when you had so much. If you drink pop,
I
you don't even feel like you're full.
know. You know what? I don't know why, but when I do these, I get so thirsty, and afterwards, I drink like half a gallon of water if I
Well, I
don't
smoke
have it
weed.
with me.
I smoke weed before I always come on, and then my mouth is so dry. It feels like I've been out on a date with Sandy Castle, because my mouth is so dry. I don't have any moisture in it. My throat and my lips start sticking together. So I drink a lot of water.
Yeah, I do too. Well, and it's important, of course, water quality is very important. Please don't neglect it. Um, where is Marilena? Did she go off? We've got to get Marilena over here because things are going to be really hard over in South Africa pretty soon if things don't change. It's not going to look very good. It's not looking good.
Well,
It's
I'll
not
keep her
looking
in my thoughts so it doesn't get off the rails. It won't get as bad as what we won't think about it's going to be getting.
well. They're going to turn off the power next year. They're going to turn.
That doesn't seem very nice.
They're doing rolling blackouts now, and that's why you see her disappear. She says, "I got to be off in an hour." is because they're doing rolling blackouts now. And um, so, and she's really intending on coming here. So she's been really working hard on making it happen. I have a feeling it is going to happen. It's probably not going to happen the way she thinks, but so many times things don't happen the way we think.
Yeah.
YJ, what? You don't pursue a relationship anymore because I don't even know how to be in a healthy one? Finally, at
Yeah.
least in peace, it's a little lonely, but yeah, still gotta. You know what I say, YJ? I can do crappy by myself. I can be miserable all on my
Yeah.
own. I don't need anybody's help to be miserable. So if you're not helping me be happy, why the heck am I spending any time with you?
But it's kind of, I don't look at it quite that way. I see things a little bit different. I think if you can't make yourself happy, then I think it's really, really, it's not fair to think that you can add somebody else to your life and then make you happy. If you don't know
Right.
what makes you happy, how in the hell do you expect them to know what makes you happy? So I know what YJ's coming from. That's why I quit dating. I
Mhm.
haven't been out on a date in like 7 years now, and
I've been dating for
every
a long time. I'm not
yeah,
sure that what I'm doing with Jason is even really considered a date. We're
as long
not
as you're
even
having fun,
calling
does
it
it
that.
matter what you label it? As long as you're having fun, it doesn't matter. As long as you're having a good time, you know, I think that's pretty groovy. If you have somebody to have fun with, I've got
That's what I
Rufus.
was really intending. I was really happy because it's like, you know what? This really fills the bill of what I was intending because I don't need to have kids.
Right.
I don't
And
need
you,
to get married. I
but
don't
when you're
need
not out, yeah, you miss the touch and you miss the conversation and you miss like the little things about people. The most of the,
sharing thoughts with
yeah.
people. We go out, we laugh our ass because he's got a good sense of humor. We
See,
laugh
there
our
you go.
asses off.
Then it doesn't matter what you call it. As long as you're having a good time, the hell, that's all that matters. Don't label it. Don't ruin it.
Yeah, it's like and I mean, and if he's, I know he says he's got somebody else there's another girl he sees. I don't care. I don't really freaking care. If I'm going out with somebody else, he doesn't really freaking care either. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's like right now the way it is fine. And part of the reason it's that way is because we're both kind of like, for one thing, he says we've got so much going on now. I don't really want to have a relationship with somebody. If I have a relationship and it gets sexual, I could get all kinds of things
Right.
from them. It's
Right.
so horrible. People won't even always tell you that something's wrong with them. It
And
just complicates things so much
yeah,
right now. It's
you're
so
exactly right.
complicated.
And one of my best relationships, like I said, was the person that I just talked to every day, and we listened to music and everything. And there wasn't that to complicate the situation because she was even married. So I wasn't even looking for relationships, and neither was she. We were just looking for a friendship. And to me, a friendship's a lot better than any kind of relationship that leads to marriage because yeah, the TV tries to program you like there's something wrong with you if you don't have somebody to get something for on Valentine's Day because you're by yourself, and they try to promote you getting in this relationship so you can get a divorce a year or two later and then feel even worse. And they don't do anything for those kind of people, but they want you to keep it's you're feeding the system is all you're doing is keeping the matrix going. And uh and, and there's got to be enough is enough point in your life, and you got to like change the way you think because the TV's already programmed
Yolanda
you as
is
how you
saying,
should
I'm
think.
happier than I've ever been being solo. It would take a lot for me to change that now. And I've said that a bunch of times.
The only
It
time I wish I had
Go
somebody
back
here,
to having an old fashioned relationship, boyfriend,
yeah,
girlfriend, and all the jealousy and the crap. And or marriage, oh my God, it scares the crap out of me now. I don't even want to think about what it'd be like.
yeah,
I hated being married the first time. It sucked. All of the expectations of that, all of the bullshit surrounding marriage.
yeah,
I just hated it. I hated it. And yet
Absolutely.
it's what we're expected to do. It's what we're expected to do.
Yeah.
It's
And
like,
they know that marriage, like, what is it, 50, 60% ends in divorce now. They know that, but they still try to
yeah.
push it because guess what? There's people that get paid every time that you get a divorce or every time that you get married. It feeds the system and it keeps the system going. So, I mean, I don't see what's wrong with just having a relationship that you don't uh, have, that many kind of expectations, I should say. As long as your expectation of fun is being reached, and that's what the point is. As long as you're having fun, uh, I guess you're doing it right. You're raising your vibration, but you're having fun. The only time that I actually miss having somebody around all the time is when I have some kind of crazy uh, experience, like the orbs come. I wish somebody could have been there to experience that. Uh, the Arcturians, when they stop by, I think somebody would find that really, really interesting. And
Mhm.
that's when I actually miss somebody. I mean, Rufus sees it, but it's not like Rufus can be an eyewitness on the news or anything, unless that people can speak Chizu. They don't have any idea what he's saying. Uh, that's the only time I like really, really miss people.
Well, it was really fun. I'm going to say this, and I know how flaky this sounds.
Right.
But Robin, I got kind of depressed and felt lonely. I didn't realize that for years I've been mind speaking Sasquatch. I had no idea. But after I realized I was doing that, I kind of got depressed and sort of feeling lonely. And I don't ever feel lonely.
Right.
Most of my life, I have not felt lonely very much because I have so many. It's like I have this world in my head going on. There are other beings around me all the time, and I know that, and I feel that. But it was funny because I got kind of lonely, and Robin said, "Well, you can have like kind of Sasquatch withdrawals." I'm like, "Really?" I said, "Well, yeah, I kind of get the impression that they've moved on up and they're like hanging out in the lakes, taking time out. They're kind of away out of this area." She goes, "Yeah, I feel like that too." But you could be experiencing Sasquatch withdrawal.
Absolutely.
So I reached out my mind and I said, "You know what? I think I really miss you guys. Now that I know that you're my friends, I really miss you. And do you know that female that I'm in touch with? She showed up in my head and she came and actually gave me, and this is so funny because Duke always says, don't hug the Wookiee. She came and gave me a hug and she said, your people really don't know how to love each other very well.
Absolutely.
I'm
Absolutely.
paraphrasing because it's mind speak, but she's like, you people really don't know how to love each other very well. And she just kind of held me for a little while, like she would a kid. And she says, we didn't know that you missed us that much. And I said, I didn't know either. I didn't know
Absolutely.
you could.
And when these relationships don't work out a lot, and that's when, say, I get the most depressed because the person doesn't explain why, anything why. So immediately, we're always harder on ourselves than anybody else. Immediately, it goes to what now? What did I do wrong? You know,
Yeah, exactly. What did I do wrong? And that's like, maybe you didn't do anything wrong.
exactly. You
Maybe
might
you're
not be
not
doing
supposed to be in that relationship and you did something right.
right, but I mean, the problem is there's the communications that we have with each other. Uh, it isn't really great. You should be honest with somebody, and if something's not working out, just let them know what the reason was, or maybe the reason was it's somebody else's fault. Tell them and let them know, and that way the person at least feels better that it wasn't something that they did. It was something that maybe somebody's husband did, or maybe somebody else was forcing them to do something. You don't know exactly what's going on, but that makes the thoughts start racing in your head of I didn't say anything. I looked. There's nothing inappropriate there. Um, I don't know
Hey,
what I
Olin.
did. Yeah,
Olin's back. Yeah, that goes for me. Yeah, honestly, Bomber and YJ are both saying they've eschewed relationships as well because it's the same thing. That kind of relationship is just out now.
Yeah.
And we all kind of agreed on this. We'd rather be alone than be in a sucky relationship.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But we
That-
are in a relationship, guys. We are in a relationship right now. Everybody on this channel.
But a lot of
We're
people
in
don't feel
a
the
kind
same
of
way
a
as you do, Dee.
relationship.
A lot of people stay in abusive relationships just to be in a relationship because they feel like maybe that person has taken away all their self-esteem or whatever. But some of them stay in relationships that they shouldn't be in the first place.
Probably.
Yeah, they don't want to
Probably.
be labeled by society as, I guess, divorced or having to go find another person because where I live, there's only 24,000 people, and I'm a little bit over 50 years old, and there's everybody that I know that's in that they're all married, and I guess you have to wait till the Grim Reaper takes one of their partners away before you get to have a relationship or something. I don't know how it works. I just know that I've been married twice. One time it lasted a year, and it was a horrible ending because she ended up even taking my child and going out of state with him, and wasn't supposed to do that. The court system's ordered her to stay there, but she didn't give a shit about anything the court system said. She just took off. If that would have been me, you'd have seen Amber Alerts all over your phone, and they would have had me in jail in probably less than 24 hours. But I mean, certain people have different rules, and that adds to your wonderful experience of you wanted to be a human. Now here you are.
Oh, so you want to be a human?
Yeah.
You know what? Somebody mentioned Arcturians. You mentioned Arcturians, and then YJ mentioned Arcturians. Here we go with Arcturians. The blue guys seem to be very friendly.
Yeah, I think they're funny too, but they never have a funny
Most
look
of
on their
them
face.
are
They always
the guys.
yeah.
If they're blue, they're probably friendly. I don't know if that's across the board, but most of them are. Yeah,
Well, I had a recurring.
and they're funny. You're right. They're funny.
Yeah,
They
I had
have
a
a sense.
recurring experience when I was little where one of them kept coming to see me, and I would wake up. It wasn't like I was asleep. I would wake up and look across the room, and he was standing there, or she, or whatever. I don't know exactly who it was, but uh, happened like twice a year until I was like somewhere between 10 and 12 years old. And when I was little, I would always tell my mom that the Jolly Green Giant was in my room because that was the only thing I'd seen on TV that could actually compare to it. But yeah, it would come and see me. And I recently, maybe 6 or 8 months ago, I was thinking about those experiences, and I told myself that I programmed myself to have a reoccurring. I wanted to see every time that it came and saw me. I wanted to go back and witness all that again. Now that I could actually remember it and probably appreciate it. And when I did that, not only did I set my intentions to do that when I was right before I went to sleep, but I went back and I saw every one of those times. I think it was 13 or 14 times that thing came to visit me. And this time, though, the really, really crazy part is I saw it through their eyes. I got to see it through their eyes and what they were actually thinking at the time. And that thing just missed me. We were friends or something. And so I can say, it wasn't mean. It was just saying, I wish you wouldn't have came here. I know this place sucks. So you just missed me.
Well, it's interesting. Apparently, some of us have found that in some capacity, we like have a starship
Oh,
we're
yeah.
on. And
Yep.
we see it sometimes, and we're there sometimes. Once again, it's like like I talk about, we have our soulmates. Then people think that that's some kind of mystical thing, and really, it's just they're we're all pieces of the same main tree. We're all like branches of a tree.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, we all got that
They're all
DNA. Yeah.
connected. So the ones that you're the closest to are the ones you're going to most likely be like and be sharing the experience with.
Yeah, the
So,
ones that you're most like means you got their DNA. Like if you resonate with the Arcturians, you probably got the Arcturian DNA, and that way you've probably been that way through several lifetimes. Several lifetimes you've been Arcturian, or several lifetimes you've been Palladian or Lyran or anything like that. Uh, your traits is what gives you what you really are. Like a Arcturian wants to know a lot of knowledge about everything. That's where it gets off. That's its jam. It stays in the knowledge department, and it likes to have experiences just so it can feel what it was like if you were in a human body and you felt that. So I mean, it's different traits that tell you what you had the most DNA in.
I think Overlander, like always, is on to something. Overlander and we're very close on that tree branch.
Yeah.
Our two little twigs are like right next to each other there.
There you go.
But
See, I'm from Kentucky, so most of our trees don't have any branches whatsoever, if you know what I mean.
oh boy, at least that's yeah. And he says what he's noticed is Arcturians seem to be doing damage control with
Yeah.
sensitives who have had negative experience with the grays. And at least that's what the commonality I've noticed, he says, among a lot of people who speak of the Arcturians. And I think he's right,
Yeah.
because the Arcturians are healers. They have a good vibe. So, and I have actually asked them to help me with healings before. It is advised that if you need some help with a healing, you can usually ask the Arcturians. They will help,
Yeah.
especially if you're with things like that, with a sensitive who's had the snot beat out of them by the nasty little grays or
And they'll
something.
show you how you can heal yourself too, because just because they heal you doesn't mean you
Right.
can't learn it yourself. You have that power too.
Mm-hmm. Olin wants to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, Olin.
Happy human holiday, Owen.
Happy Happy holiday to you. You know what? It's like honestly Thanksgiving. I don't I don't have a family to celebrate it with, but I'm always giving thanks and I do it really actively. I mean, I will wake up. I gotta say that it certainly wasn't always this way. But these days I wake up a lot of times, look around, pet my little kitty here, he purrs, and think of how lucky I am to be here. And I am very thankful every day. I'm
Well, I never
thankful.
had my son. My son, since 2 years old, all the holidays, we were supposed to like designate holidays, but she didn't care about any of that. She didn't care about what the court system said or anything. So I never had my son for like holidays. So as holidays were always just a depressing day to me. So I just ignored them. Ignored the
Yeah,
holidays.
holidays
I
were
don't,
pretty depressing, especially family holidays.
yeah. And most
Yeah,
of us
those.
are the black sheep of the family because we do think like this.
Mhm.
Most of our family probably is stuck in the old timeline where you're supposed to believe in this and this, and it takes all these options. You built this nice little tight prison for your brain to stay at, and you think if it stays in there, it won't get confused, and there's no harm to it, but there's not any fun to it either. So you got to start taking these false belief systems and treat them like bricks. You're taking down that wall so your brain can actually grow. Because right now it's
Turkeys.
it's stuck in this little compartment and it can't grow. You're not giving it any options. It's already reached its limitations because if you try to question things, oh, that's blasphemy. You're going to go to hell. Yeah, if I had a dime for
Well,
every time that somebody said that to me.
the best part about, like I said, when I accept that I'm a divine creator being and that I created things and somehow created this experience or that experience, it's very empowering because then you can alter that experience. You can make of it what you
Absolutely.
will. You can
Try doing it
you
at
can
night.
also even uncreate whatever you've made. However, I got to tell you, there's even more to that. Because look at what is considered to be the worst blasphemy is calling yourself God, and yet we
Yeah.
are. We
Yep.
are God, all of us.
That's the
We're
leash
all
they
God.
put you on. They got you on a leash, and they put the bowl of water just out of your reach. But if you try to go for that water, you're going to go to hell.
Right, that's right. And so when you finally put that aside, as a matter of fact, there are people who would call that Luciferic. I don't think so. I don't think so. He was trying to replace that in the story, he was trying to replace God. I'm not replacing God. I'm realizing I am God. And so are you.
Mm. And why can't I
And so
talk
we're
to him?
all
Why is it bad for me to have a conversation for it? If he's bad, I mean, if the devil wants to come in here and there's anything that's really of the devil, why can't I sit down and have a glass of water or drink a beer with him and find out, what really happened, because I've been attacked recently for things that I didn't do. And people just, they don't think they have to have evidence anymore. They think they can just say stuff and people should believe them. They should believe them. They should not question them. But I'm kind of think that's probably, if there was a devil, which I don't necessarily believe so, that's probably what happened to him. He probably didn't get to defend himself, and they're probably just talking shit about him. So I want to hear what he has to say. There's always two sides of the story.
Yeah. Well, or sometimes three sides.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes there's this side, that side, and then what really happened.
You got that right.
Or what everybody else saw.
Yeah.
It's like the outside observers saw something entirely different going on.
But there used to have to
That's
be
really funny.
evidence. Yeah, I mean, used to, if you called somebody something, they did something, you could say, "Oh, yep, here's the evidence." And now there's none at all. There's none at all. And then if you ask for evidence, you're an asshole. You're an asshole that didn't believe somebody because they claim something happened, and there's absolutely no evidence of that situation. So the dumbing down of America and the human race has worked just perfectly for whoever was in charge. They got
Yeah,
everybody
they
scared
did a
now.
good job. It really
Yeah,
worked. I don't know if you can see my T-shirt,
yeah,
but it says "We the people are pissed off."
yeah. And that's what you got to do. You got to keep being proud of yourself because you're not stuck in this fog of misconceptions and misstatements and just wrong lies and things that they've tried to capture people's energy in. And a lot of people are still programmed and believe in certain things about this and certain things about that. Well, I've got DNA that's not from here. And even though I'm not a veterinarian, I can tell horse shit when I smell it. And when somebody comes to me and they start saying stuff, I immediately feel their energy because I'm empathic and I can tell, pretty much if they're lying or not. So I don't fall for that. And I'm sure most of you do the same thing. You might not believe that you can feel the energy, but you know when somebody's lying to you, you can feel it. It doesn't resonate anymore. They are all excited telling you this story, and then they get to the part where they have to tweak the truth of the story, and you can feel their energy drop. Their energy's dropped to, I'm telling you this story, to, you got to believe me. You got to believe me on this. It was true. I swear. You got to believe me. And it's just not true half the time. And they'll do anything to misguide you into believing that they did nothing wrong.
That's yeah. Well, I find that too.
Yeah.
Just in case says, "Be careful if you search for your inner God spark might lead to self-worship, which isn't spiritually sound." However, the thing is, that's only if you believe you're the only God.
Right.
Sure. Which I don't. And I don't even suggest that. Really believe, I really believe we are all God. That there is this overarching being
Yeah.
who wants to know exactly what it can be, what it can do, just like any child that was ever born. Who am I? Why am I here? What can I do? I got a body. What can I do with it? Wants to see from different viewpoints. How do you see? How do you know what you are, what you look like, what you can do? You need another viewpoint. You need other
Absolutely.
viewpoints. The more viewpoints you have, the more information you can develop, you can grasp. The more you can do, the more you can try. It's all experimental. It's like a being that just wants to know itself.
Yeah. And you got free will too. And that's why I say the
Mhm.
most important thing, if you really, really want to dive into this stuff, set your intentions in the nighttime and tell them you want a memory or you want a past life experience about when you were something else, when you weren't human, you were something else. And then make sure that you cover yourself in the wording. Like for example, I'll say tonight, my intentions are when I go to sleep, I want to have a remembering of some kind of experience when I was an Arcturian, and I wanted to have a positive energy exchange between everybody involved. So it could be a party where everybody's having fun or something. Nobody's going to hurt you because everybody's happy, and you can say I want to remember as much as I can for the betterment of this experience. So I'll know
Mhm.
what's going
Yeah.
on here. And a lot of times you'll have that. It might not be the first night, but if you keep doing it and you keep putting your energy into it, you'll eventually have that dream. 2 or 3 nights down the road, you'll have that dream and you'll remember something and you'll be like, I remember. And that's why I feel this way about certain things, because I had this experience here. And it's your experience here. And these are your dreams. Don't let somebody else program your dreams, especially the news or some damn show. Program yourself and have
Mhm.
the dreams that you want. Because once you start programming your own dreams, you don't get nightmares. If something's
Or put
chasing
on
you, yeah,
or put on one of the frequency videos and let it program your dreams for you.
yeah,
Because
anything.
you can program it to I'm going to be rich. You can
Yeah,
program it to I'm going to be healthy. You can program it to, I mean, you can really do a lot with those videos because when you're asleep, you are being now. Oh, YJ says, "Who is this guest? Where did this wizard come from? Holy shit, haha, total treat to have you on with D tonight, man. Unexpected sage wisdom, David."
yeah.
You see the screen? Can you see the screen?
The chat,
Because
no, I don't have the chat went
I'm
up, but I can
putting
see that.
comments
Yeah,
here.
yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I saw the when you popped it up, but I don't see the chat screen.
Yeah, you don't see the chat, but you can see when I
When you
put
pop
some.
it up, yeah,
Yeah. So you know what? It's like honestly, oh, Olin is going to take off and go to sleep. I understand, Olin. Hey, you and your
yeah,
woman, you're one of us who actually
yeah,
found a good relationship. You're really, a lot where the rest of us are sitting here going, wow, how did you do that, Olin?
yeah.
But yeah, Olin actually has a good woman that he's very happy with and a nice little family, and they're going
This
to have
probably
a
wasn't the first lifetime he's been with her either, to be perfectly honest. Maybe they
little.
wanted to come back here, together and have this experience.
Well, speaking of that, I think we've probably had hundreds of lives, not just one, not just two, not just three, as far as I can tell.
Yeah,
Most of us have had thousands, maybe millions,
absolutely.
maybe.
We probably know each other from where we're from. A lot of us are from the same place. Now, if you have some kind of morals and values that don't quite add up, you might be from another place that's close by or something. But most of us, I think we probably know each other from past lifetimes, or we're from the same.
At the library,
Yeah,
we were talking about this. You may be a librarian if, like I said, we come from a place that's has this big academy. This is what I remember. And we have a great big library, and the library is where the matrix is, this matrix, this simulation. It goes through there. It's all routed through there. It's another way of recording and experiencing information
yeah,
because we're pretty much an information place. People come to gain information.
yeah.
And
And
so this sim is one of the ways that people read books, basically watch movies.
Yeah. And
It's
if you
like
get a
watching
word or
movies.
some kind of situation that keeps popping in your head over and over and over again, there's a reason for that. There's no coincidences. For some reason, I get angel messages all the time. I'll be listening to
Mhm.
music on that Sirius radio, and Angel of Brooklyn comes on. and then the song Angel comes on about 5 minutes, and there's like 4 or 5 like angel songs that just start peppering you with it. So I think there's some kind of like an angel hybrid or something. I must be like an angel Palladian hybrid. I don't know exactly what's going on, of course, but the
Well,
way
the
I keep
Pleiadians can be mistaken for angels, I think.
absolutely they are. That's why they have them in the Bible. You see those old pictures in the Bible where you have the angel that's glowing coming down and the guy's sitting on the log or something. That's not an angel. That was a Palladian. They have that all wrong. They have that all messed up, and they're telling you that on purpose. Because when you see a Palladian, think of the little toy that was a glowworm. Remember the glowworm that used to go in bed and there's a worm and it glowed in case you needed a night light, but it glowed from the inside to the out. That's the same thing the Palladians do. They glow on the inside, and then on the outside, you see this light, but it's coming from the inside. It's not coming from the outside.
Well, see, that's just the thing, is I've seen my light body now.
Mm-hmm.
While I was fighting the things out in the woods with Heather, I saw my light body doing this, doing throwing the light rods. And I'm like, wow, I had wings. I was like this beautiful white light being with wings.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
Did your shoulder blades in the
wow.
back hurt any? Every once in a while, I'll get like a knot or something or an itch on my shoulder blades. And I know that's where my wings were, or maybe they're coming back, and that's why I'm getting them now. But it's right underneath your shoulder blades where your wings would actually be. If you ever
Mhm.
start feeling that kind of a weirdness right there, I think that's what you're feeling.
Yeah, I possibly because there's somebody else that talks about that too. That psychically, if you're in the Legion of Michael, right about in that spot, you will be able to see 2 wing imprints on that person psychically, and they'll be in red if you're Legion of Michael.
It's the first time I've heard of it. Who you know who does that?
And this was a long time ago. I can't
Okay.
even remember who. It was somebody who dealt with a lot of angelic stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's where the wings attach. Um, just thought I'd back you up on that. Legend has definitely contorted the truth to use as a measure of moral control and deceptive power. Yes, I agree, YJ. Hang on. I really need a long drink of water now. I'm going to let you go right ahead.
All right.
I'm going to let you look at
Yeah.
Cowboy now.
Yeah. If you get like songs over and over and over again that you keep hearing, try to look up, if you don't know the lyrics, try to look up the lyrics because it's trying to give you a message. If you keep hearing a song every day, there's a reason. There is no coincidences in life. Probably about a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, I kept hearing this song, Epic, Epic. And and it kind of tells you, what's getting ready to happen, and it's headed this way. And if you kind of like read into the lyrics, um, it's your manifestation that's coming this way. You made this, and you made this, and you wanted to be here for the end of it, and so did everybody else. And that's why you're seeing so many UFOs in the sky now, and you're seeing so many different things. It's crazy things that don't make a lick of sense that's happening now. And there's no way that anybody would ever believe, some of the stuff that's happening. And that's because during the end of the show, during the last final act before everything goes down, everything always goes crazy. And you start doubting yourself, just like every movie, every hero's journey. You have that doubt. The hero starts having his doubt because he's starting to get his ass kicked or something. And he's starting to wonder, uh, why am I in this position? Why did I believe this? And then finally something clicks. Maybe he gets hit one last time, and then he finally gets pissed off and says, "That's it. That's enough." And he finally, accepts the fact that if he doesn't get up and do something and fight, then it's not going to end the way that he wanted it to. And it's just like every hero's journey that you've ever seen in a movie or ever written about, or even in songs. Some things happen at the end of the songs, that the person was trying to manifest at the beginning of the songs. And he did, or she did. And that's what you're going through right now. Something's getting ready to happen. Uh, I don't want to scare anybody, but it's just like it's nothing to be scared of. There's always a cycle, and there's always an end of this cycle. And just because it says the end, the next page, if the book continued, it would say the beginning. There's always a beginning right after the end. So don't be scared of either one of them. It's just a change. Change might be uncomfortable at first because you're used to doing stuff a different way, but in the long run, it happens for a reason. So just get over it.
Absolutely.
Don't take it personal.
Well, I think that's my advice for all of life. Don't take it personally.
Yeah.
You
It's
know, a
hard
lot
not
of
to.
things
Yeah.
happen that we just take it way too personally.
Yeah. It's hard not to. If you want to get upset, if you want to cry because something happens, cry for 10 or 20 minutes, or call your best friend if you have one that's willing to stick by you. You call them and you tell them what happened, and you let it go. When you tell them what happened, you're letting it go. You're not holding on to it anymore. If you hold on to it, it's going to manifest into something really, really shitty that you don't want. So tell your friend, take
Mhm.
some deep breaths, and let it go back into the universe, because it taught you a lesson. Might not have been a very good lesson that you like to learn, but at least it taught you a lesson, and now you're ready to move on. As long as you don't keep holding on to it, let it
The
go.
most
Yeah,
miserable people are the ones that will tell you over and over and over and
right.
over and over and over again
Absolutely.
how horrible everybody treats them and how horrible that. You know what? It's okay. If you run it by me one time, I
Right.
understand.
Once or twice, yeah, to get it
But
over with. Yeah,
yeah, or maybe even twice. But
yeah,
honestly, if you just keep staying in that ain't good. One
yeah.
of my teachers was Lola Jones, and she said, though, you need to feel your feelings.
Right.
One of the things we are deathly afraid of in this society is actually feeling our feelings all the way through. We're afraid something horrible is going to happen. We hate to, I mean, if we're sad, we don't want to, cheer up, cheer up. It's like sometimes you gotta feel your feelings all the way through. And once you do, then you can let them go.
Yeah.
They're there for a reason.
And that
Your
person wasn't
emotions have
responsible for
a
your
reason.
happiness. So get that out of the way. That person is not what made you happy. It's what you all did together that what made you happy. You all got along, you laughed and stuff like that. So you got to get back. After every relationship, you've grown. You've grown and you've taken steps forward in your development. So it's don't like throw the whole relationship away. Learn what made you happy during that relationship and continue to do it. You might have to do it with yourself for a while. If it's dancing, listening to music, I mean, that's the way I started off. I'll go back to dancing and listening to music by myself because I was having just a good time until a person came along and started doing it with me. And it's stupid and it's irresponsible for me to think somebody just came into my life to make me happy. I was happy before that happened, and I might miss that person, but they're not what made me happy. I already knew what to do to make me happy. So I got to get off my ass and start doing it again and doing it by myself. And then eventually you find somebody else. Hey, yeah, I've heard you talking about you dancing, and I like that. I like to do stuff. And you meet people who have the same common threads that you have, that they have the same kind of traits, and they want to do the same things. And that's where you have your real relationships that are actually uh, real. They're
Beneficial to both
positive. Yeah.
partners, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got the same hobbies in
I gotta
common.
say
So,
something. I gotta say something.
sure.
Um, Hang on here. Let me find
Okay.
it again. Okay. Um, Everybody's talking about having shoulder pain and where the wings probably are. And has anybody found anything to help it? Yes, I have told you guys. I have this pain cream, this comfrey cream. It's very, very strong. If you want some, it's $30 plus postage, but it is extremely beneficial. When I had my torn rotator cuff, it's the only thing that helped me. The only thing. And even right now, it's one of the very few things I have found that really helps the pain. Plus, it not only is a painkiller, it actually helps you heal. It speeds up recovery of your um, both of your of all of your everything. It just helps speed up your recovery and your healing. If you are interested, please get in touch with me. You know how to get in touch with me. I put it up here all the time. Hang on. I'm not making a ton of money on this, right? This is not why I'm doing this. This is, I know what pain is like, and I know this has been that helpful for me. I don't sell a lot of things on here. I don't have any interest in the company either. But anyway, okay, go right ahead.
Whatever you want to talk about. I was just talking about how a relationship. It's not a dependent thing that somebody needs to do to find happiness. You got to do that yourself first. And then once you find that you're happy and find that you're really, really enjoying yourself, then you can add another person who has that same kind of hobbies or energy, and you can, temporarily add them to your energy and see if it makes it better, see if it makes it worse. There's nothing wrong with just finding out that that person and you don't like have the same energy and it doesn't work. There's nothing personal about that. It's just people jump into things really too soon these days and want to like live together or have sex or something. You should find out what that person's all about before you do that.
Absolutely. People just have been taught all wrong how to
Yeah.
go about relationships. And it's a transitory thing. It's usually very superficial. It's usually just to, get your hornies out, get rid of your hornies, shake them off. But I got to answer Bomber here. Bomber says there's nothing posted about that stuff here on the screen. That's right. I'm not really in the business of selling this stuff. But if you're interested in comfrey cream, it is pure comfrey. There's nothing else in it except beeswax. There's comfrey parts, there's comfrey oil, and a little bit of beeswax to make it something that you can put on yourself without it being a liquid. Other than that, it's just comfrey. And guess what? It works really well. If I had a lot of land, I would certainly devote a big patch of it to growing comfrey because people need this. Okay. And by the way, Justin, hope you have good dreams. He's going to bed now. Okay. Just had to catch up with myself here. Okay. And with my comments because I'm reading the comments and I know you can't read that from where you are.
Yeah.
So, I had to catch up with the comments, love. Okay. But you're doing great. And really, I guess me woman didn't really quite understand that, it would be a good idea to have that we were hoping that she would be on a little longer talking about this, but she wanted to make sure that she got some of the information out to people so that they could look into it because she felt it was very important. So remember, she's new to all this. Okay.
Absolutely.
But actually, I think we got a great guest here anyway. And I think David Castle is a great guest. Yeah, and you guys think so too, don't you? Yeah.
I was with Scotty Roberts on Monday, and we talked about the different things about some paranormal experiences that everybody had, and it was fun on Monday. And I like to talk about it. I think this is the most important thing. When you have an experience, you have to talk about it, and you have to find a platform like your station or his station where you're not ridiculed and you're not made fun of or called you're some kind of satanic thing because you're flying around with the orbs.
What I'm doing here.
Right. That's the most important thing, to find a platform that's promoting stuff like that that actually wants you to share.
I have to explain something, Ian. She says, "Oh, I have misunderstood what you said. I thought you were going to share the name with us." No, I have bought. The only way to get this cheap, it's expensive because it's a very pure product. The only way to get this cheap is to buy a
Oh,
big box of it. You have to buy a quantity. I have bought a quantity of it and it's over there. And I bought it so that I would have a supply for a while.
yeah.
It lasts a long time, but with my kind of pain, um, my pain is chronic, so I use it every single day. I just bought a bunch of it. I saved up and bought a big bunch of it, but I have so much of it that I can resell it. And, you know, if you need it, I will part with some of it. But I'm not, like I said, I'm not getting any. They supply, okay, the stuff I bought is what they send to be mixed up with other stuff and made into a product. Okay. So that's, but I know I want the pure comfort because I know the qualities of it or what I want. And if I want to mix it into something, I will mix it myself into something. So that's why I'm doing that. Yeah, if you're interested, BioFreeze will work, but it's not going to be anything like this stuff because it's not going to actually promote the healing like this stuff. Also will help protect you from sunburn. In my experience, also will actually heal up sunburn faster than anything I ever saw. Will take pain on contact faster than anything I ever saw. Has no menthol in it. It doesn't have the menthol. It's not going to make you feel cold. You're not going to feel any different at all, except the pain's going to go away. It's one of the best things I ever found. Honest to God, it is one of the best things I ever found.
If you
And I'll
find like,
probably
yeah, if you find something like that and it resonates with your body, definitely
right,
use it.
right, and it definitely. I am thinking of mixing some things in with it, but I like the strength of this. It's so strong that I like it being this as strong as it is. So anyway, that's what I'm saying. But you guys are asking, what do you do for pain? Well, that's one of the things I do for pain. Okay. On to, we're talking about relationships here, and you shared a lot of really great insights. And I'm going to turn it to, how do you feel? Okay, here we are. We know it's almost 100% that we're in a matrix. Okay. Um, do we really have, this is another thought I've had. Do we really have as much free will as we think we
Oh
are?
no, no, you never will either because you never know all the information. They keep the information back and they give you well, the South Park. South Park did a really good episode on voting and politicians. They had a chance to vote between a giant douche and a turd sandwich, and that's pretty much the options that they always give you because they don't want to give you any actual knowledge on how you can heal stuff and how you can do stuff. They give you free will to pick between one of two options that they've chosen
And
for
the
you.
two bad options. Would you rather be stabbed or hung? Oh, wait
Right,
a minute. I
exactly.
want to be either one.
Yep,
Oh,
that's
well,
it.
I'm sorry, but those are, well, but we gave you a choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's not a good choice. Well, we didn't say it was going to be a good choice.
Right. We just say that you got to choose. Free
We
will.
just said you
Choose.
got some choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, do you want creamed pork, which is really nasty, or something even worse? I don't even know what's worse than creamed pork, but
Yeah.
anyway.
I call it
Um,
bending the rules. They're bending the rules. They're not telling you all your options that you have, but they're giving you a couple options. So they're not actually totally lying to you, but they're just mostly lying
they're
to
not
you.
really being forthcoming.
Yeah.
Um, but we're in a matrix. Okay, fine. We are resetting this sucker. What you're gonna see, gotta warn you, and I want to hear your thoughts too about this, David Kessel. We're resetting this sucker. A lot of us came here to do this. This is our job.
Yeah.
It got virused. It started acting kind of crazy. That's how things got inverted. Okay, you hear us talk about the inverted matrix.
Yeah.
When you see things that are make no sense and they're inverted, it's the virus. The virus inverted it. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, on a bigger level, this is already somewhere. This has already been handled, and I'm trying to jump to the reality where this is handled, and I'm getting there because it's getting better for me. But I really want to bring this up as important. There are people who are working to to finish this reset and virus purge. Okay, and it's kind of dangerous work as far as on a temporal level. Okay, but as far as that's concerned, we're here to do our job. We know we've already done our job somewhere in the future, what we
Mhm.
consider the future. We've already done this. Okay, if we can remember that in one of these dimensions, everything turned out great and it was a beautiful place once
Mhm.
we were finished doing this. If we can remember that and choose that option, remember that we have an infinite number of choices. If you don't want to be stuck with just two bad choices,
Right.
I think I will really believe that we're really, really doing it when we see more than one good choice, you know, then we're
Yeah.
like, oh my God, we're really doing it now. We're really, really doing it. Because right now we're just having, you know, choices, not the best choice. So, you know, you guys, you're more advanced than most people. All of you, all of you are just so advanced. Um, don't you think that if we do sort of a group thing on this, that we can really move this along at least for ourselves? Would you like me to do a show where we all put our energies towards shoving it in the right direction, in the direction we prefer? Let's put it that way, rather than even saying the right direction. There may be more than one right
Mm.
direction. There may be one more than one we prefer. But would you like me to do a show about shoving this reality, like steering it in the way that we want
Absolutely.
it to go? Because we are creators, we are divine. We know that we came here to do this. This is part of our purpose. My purpose was, my mission is free the slaves. Okay, that's what I was, that's the last thing I heard. And and actually, well, just before I heard we're resetting the matrix.
Yeah.
Okay.
And slavery never ended. They just included everybody. I mean,
Right.
went
They
from just,
just made us all slaves.
yeah.
Free the slaves. And then I realized, I looked into all kinds of slavery and then realized that we're all slaves.
Yeah.
After I looked into it, it's like it became very glaringly apparent. And most people have no idea that they're even in it, and they don't have a choice because they don't know any better.
Right.
And they're not going to hear it because they have cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
And they have cognitive dissonance because this is the way they've been brainwashed, gaslighted all these years
Absolutely.
from birth. And we're not told we have these abilities. We're not told how to use them. Where, you know what? There are even abilities. Paul has studied this, that people are supposed to um, pass on to their kids. That was the parental blessing. People don't do that anymore. There are things that you are supposed to pass on, knowledge that was supposed to be passed on to your children. And people don't even know they're supposed to do
Yeah.
that anymore. So we've got to get this back. I think you all want that. I think you all want our abilities, our godlike abilities back, right? That we're calling godlike, but it's really just our normal human abilities. Honestly, it's normal human abilities. We've just been denied it because it looks like everybody out there in the universe besides us has abilities. I mean, mind
Yeah.
speak and telepathy and, floating and I mean, and Robin says that she's seen the Bigfoot levitate. Well, and camouflage themselves and this and that and the other. You know, yeah, we got to get all, somehow, I just feel like part of my purpose is also to get this moving along when I can. So if you want that kind of a show, just leave a comment. Let me see it. Right. And thank you so much,
Yeah.
David, for coming in here. I'm
Anytime.
going on for almost 4 hours. I'll go to 4 hours because we're having so much fun here. And that's about another 40 minutes. I'll go up to another 40 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
And that'll be 4 hours, just letting you guys know if you want to stay that long. If you don't, if you're tired now and you want to go on and go do something else, let me know
Yeah.
because I can turn it off now and we can come back another night and pick it right back up again. And I love having discussions with you. I absolutely
And if anybody's got any
love.
questions, ask them. I can't promise I can answer everything, but I'll answer with my perspective on how I see things. And you might have this experience and see them a little different. But if you are an empath, you can feel that I'm not lying to you. I'm just telling you what I saw when I see things. It's just, not everybody sees everything exactly the same.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things I really try to remind people. You don't know how the other people are perceiving this. You don't know how other
Right.
people they've been through, and they're going to be perceiving it through their filter. Their filter was put in place by maybe different kind of gaslighting, different kind of
Yeah.
things that
And
done to
when
them.
you have an experience, you are expected to share it with people too as well. And that's why I always share my experiences. Because if I get into a certain point of my uh, say it was a dream experience or say it was something after a dream, if I tell you what I did to get certain parts and certain further along the path, hopefully you can do it the same way or do it just a little bit and get a little bit further. Then you can come back and tell me exactly what happened because I don't get the whole story and you only get it for a little while. And then, like when I went back with the orbs after that happened, I can remember like leaving and then all of a sudden I couldn't remember anything. So I don't know what they do. I don't know if they flash that little light like they did in Men in Black and you just lose your memories or what happens. But you get to a certain point, then they only let you remember a little bit because it would ruin your experience here. They told me if they told you or if you saw everything and then you had to come back here, you'd be so sad and disappointed at what you do here compared to what you did up there. You would totally shut down. It would cause you cognitive dissonance and you'd probably just want to die so you can go back to where you were, and do those things.
A lot of us feel that way anyway after having a near-death experience. We're
Yeah,
like, why did we come
yeah,
back?
absolutely. And I could say for
Why?
about 15 or 20 more minutes, and then I'm gonna have to go and pee.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm kind of getting that too.
Yeah,
I'm kind of getting that feeling like we're beginning to run down for the night,
right.
and people are going to be need to do it because people are dropping out and they're needing to go to sleep and
Yeah.
stuff.
But anytime you want me to come
So
on, I'll come. We'll come on, just have a chat. I don't care. We don't have to talk about anything. We can just wing it. It doesn't matter to me. I'll talk about anything.
right, okay. And Ben likes to come in sometimes. One of these days,
Hell
he's going
yeah,
to come in
man.
and tell his story.
Come in anytime with us,
He
Ben. We'll
likes to
talk.
talk. So
I
someday
like
when
it.
he's not too busy, and
Absolutely.
Bonka likes to talk, and one day we'll draw YJ in here. One day.
And I'll get
One
all those things
day
off of
we'll
Ben.
bring
I'll
him
make Ben
in.
have a good time and laugh and stuff like he used to. And any kind of archonic attachments that's making him feel they won't be able to stay on there. They'll just have to leave because once you get into a certain frequency, They have to leave. They can't feed off you
Yeah,
anymore.
they
They
have
can't live
to
off
leave.
something wonderful that you're feeling. They have make you feel something depressing or something sad or blame yourself on something. So you got to do what you
Right.
can. If it's music, music. If it's you play guitar, play guitar. Something that gets you, snaps
That's
you out of
right.
that.
That's right. So any whoozy bummer is taken off. She's
Bye,
saying good night.
Bomber. Thanks for coming in. I enjoyed you when you were on the
Um,
show too.
I'm kind of getting the feeling we are gonna be closing it down for tonight. We can come
Okay.
and do this. I do this 3 nights a week. I do it at around 10 p.m. Eastern
Hmm.
time on Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday. Every Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday. Please refer to my. I don't know how many of you saw, but if you do, please comment on it. How many of you saw the intro for my show? I'm going to be uploading that pretty soon, and we're going to have an actual intro for the show. And I'm working on some things for the show to make it a little more interesting. I really am working on things, people, to try and make this a better experience for everybody. I I I love you guys very much. I respect you so much. I'm so happy to know you. I am so happy that you are a part of my experience here and a part of what I feel is my crew of this ship, this relationship. Um, I want to thank everybody. I just want to thank you all. Okay. And you too, David Castle, because
You're
it
welcome.
looks
Thank
like,
you for letting me come on and chat. Like I said, I used to
oh
talk to
no, it was
somebody all
great.
night, up and down, all day long, and now I've got a lot of extra time on my hands, and I haven't taught Rufus to speak English yet, so it's mostly just me talking to him like a monologue, like a Johnny Carson kind of a thing. So I like to come on. I like to talk. Sometimes I know stuff. Sometimes you might ask me, and I don't know. I'll have to go into meditation and actually think about that. But I don't. I'm not going to come out and flat out lie because I'm an empath. And when somebody asks somebody something, I can tell when they're just making shit up. So I'm not going to make stuff up, and I'll give you my best perspective I can.
I will also do the same.
Yeah.
You know what? I still have not entirely gotten over the way I look on camera. Every
I
time
know.
I look at myself, it's like I don't look like myself or like I think I look or anything. I look so strange on camera, but
Well, at least you don't sound like this. I sound like somebody from Kentucky. Me and Alex, the ganja shaman, he's from Aruba. Yeah.
people love accents.
Yeah.
Don't give me that, boy. Don't give me that. People love accents, and you know that's a fact.
Yeah. But when they hear Alex's accent, it's like a warm island kind of a nice little island breeze going on. When they hear my
Hey,
accent, they wonder. I wonder if he's just slept with a family member before he came on the show or something like that. It's two different accents here.
yeah, there's a lot of different accents. You know what? As I was driving down to Florida, I I noticed that as every stop, the accents got deeper, deeper,
Hmm.
deeper, deeper. The southern accent got even deeper. And then I got to Florida and they all sounded like they were from here because they were all from here. They were all a bunch of northerners
Yeah,
going down to be in the warmth. So anyway, yeah, I've heard them all.
absolutely. And I'm really sarcastic. Don't let me ever offend anybody. I usually say it for a joke. Sometimes it doesn't always like hit the target, but uh, if you get offended by somebody from Kentucky, what they say, doesn't it say a little bit more about you than it says about me? Uh, I'm from Kentucky. If I ever say anything, just you could come back with me if I ever insult you, say, "Hey, but you're from Kentucky," and you automatically win that exchange. So take everything very lightly, laugh as much as you can. It's a high frequency. Don't take everything so seriously and don't take yourself so seriously. Have fun while we're here because we're getting ready to get to a point of the movie where, it might not be so much fun. So enjoy what you can while
Yeah,
you
I'm
can.
trying to get us raised up before
Yeah,
you have to go through that.
there you go.
And if we do, we could vibrate ourselves right out of the worst of it, okay?
Works
That's
for
what I'm
me.
trying to do. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's do it. let's decide that we as divine creator beings are going to show everybody the way and vibrate ourselves right out of all of the crap and find ourselves a beautiful world
Yeah.
to live in, find ourselves a beautiful reality,
Sounds like a plan to
make
me.
a beautiful reality.
Absolutely.
Yes. Let's do it, team. Let's do it. Okay. I love you guys once again. Truth is where you find it. And I hope you're finding some on my show. Remember, usually it's right in front of your face. And hidden in plain sight. Boy, that's one of my favorite terms. You are divine creator beings. I always say that. And tell people you love them because a lot of people are going to be leaving. Okay. And, you'll feel better if you told them you loved them.
Yep.
So, um, and I will be working on a plan for this and a plan for the meditations. And thank you so much for your kind words, everybody, to help keep me going on, because
Yep.
really
We love
knowing
you and
that
appreciate you what you do. We love what you do, and that's why we come in and and spend time with you.
I'm so proud of that. I'm so pleased and proud, and just sometimes to the point of tears.
Yeah.
So um and thankful that I can do this. But I say sometimes I go over and say, why couldn't it have been when I was young and hot and beautiful and blah blah blah. Well, yeah, why does it have to be now when I feel like I'm still working on my self-esteem,
Yeah.
guys. That's another thing I think we really need to work on. Do we really have our self-esteem?
Absolutely.
We need that.
And
I
that was
think
just probably part of the challenge, so what happened later
probably
on in
is.
life. Yeah, it sounds later on in
Okay.
life.
That's another thing I'm going to see if I can find some way to work on with you. Love you. Okay, bye-bye. And I will see you. Yes, much love and favor to you all. I will see you hopefully on Sunday. Okay?
Love you all. So is
Sunday at
Rufus.
10. Yeah.
Well, that was fun.